All right. Thank you for your patience, everyone. My goodness. Oh, I'm delayed like the Steam Deck. What can I say? Appreciate the patience. Dogs were having a good time outside, man. There's so much snow out there, but they still feel like they got to sniff every single snowflake out there, and they wouldn't go to the bathroom. But finally, they did. So I appreciate the patience, y'all. Like I said, the doggies were not cooperating. Anyway, appreciate all the early birds here as always. All 100 plus of you. Thank you for being here. Good to see you again. Nexter, James, good to see you as well. Plasma, good to see you. Titus, happy to see you. Frenchie, don't worry, we got juice on deck. We'll talk juice today. It's also, it's funny. I looked at the clock when it was 3:31 because for those who don't know, we went live we wanted to go live at 3:30, but I was a little bit late because I was doing a juice mix. We'll have a big juice reveal here today. So I'm very excited about that. We also, speaking of reveals, we got a big one today. I can't wait to show you guys what we're doing. So keep an eye out on that. We'll do that first before we really begin here. What's going on, Josh? Good to see you, man. Silent, happy to see you. Cool Tanner. Hello from the Netherlands. Love to see that. I got you refreshing the stream to make you watch more ads, Peaches. Well, thank you for supporting what we're doing here. Appreciate you. Try to GTA 6. You know me. All right. Let's get into how many people are here right now actually? Let's see. We're at 218. Let's wait a little bit here. We got a big reveal to open things up for your boy. I'll talk about it in a separate video as well. Nasruddin, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Maddie, life has been tough. Your videos mean a lot. Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah, we're trying to. We'll be talking about Maddie content. You'll have more Maddie in a moment here. Don't worry. The juice reveal here. This is the color for today's stream. Don't let it deceive you. There's a lot going on in here. A lot going on here. Doctor Strange, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what Maddie Slop is in a moment here. Are we going to cover the Crimson Desert combat video? I have that in my list for today. I do. Binky, good to see you. Cranberry Darth, not cranberry Darth, not quite. Y'all think I'm basic? You think I'm just pulling up with cranberry juice that I pulled from a ShopRite store shelf? Please. Blood. That's a good guess. Beet juice with iron added. Good one. Yeah. We'll talk juice soon. All right. It's almost 300 of you here. Let's get into the reveal, man. I wanted to show you guys this. So, based on like I should start with this. When we began streaming, I kind of had this idea, but I wanted to see how it went first, right? Basically, we've been doing for these last few weeks now these new streams. I think many of you already knew where this is going, so it's not like a big surprise, but I wanted to test out this new format because A, I wanted to get back into streaming. B, I wanted to, connect with the community a little bit more because that was something that like I felt I was really missing. And like I've said numerous times on stream, like I was like, I don't feel like my audience really knows me at times. Like I read some of the comments and I don't think it's ever going to be 100% perfect, but I'm like, some of y'all know my taste. Some of y'all just know who I am, but many don't. And it felt like that disconnect had to be adjusted. I felt like streaming was a good way to do it. Obviously, there's no perfect fix for it. But what I wanted to do with this format was kind of experiment with a live show where we talk the news together. It'd be a lot more interactive. And also, that gave birth to this. There you go. Wait, hold on. Hit the wrong button. I'm like, gives birth to me. Wrong button. It gave birth to this. Okay. This is Maddie Slop. I'm going to break it down for you all. It's pretty obvious, though. But it's linked right now in the description for this stream. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead. It would be super appreciated. What's happening here is we're taking those news stories from the streams and we're putting them here. Emmett, who's Ember's Arcade, has been helping me do this. He's worked really hard to help me get this channel off the ground. We're not taking the lazy route. We're editing these videos. Also, on top of this, this will be the place that conversations land that I can kind of put together quickly. Mr. Maddie has kind of become this channel where There's a lot of production time, and we make longer videos. Like we just dropped a 40-minute season 2 review, and I love doing that stuff. I want to do more of that stuff. I love seeing people really connect with not only just like reviews, but like our video essays. We did one on the rise and fall of Bethesda and BioWare RPGs. That was like from the heart. And I want to do that on top of the things we already do on Mr. Matty. So think of it additive. There's no taking away. This is just on top of what's there. I saw the comments in our last stream as well. A lot of people were saying, hey, I love that you're streaming. I like being here, but I don't care about like the audience interaction. I just want your takes. And so this was a way for me to break off and make it easy for y'all to find. And also, so if you only cared about one topic in our 3-hour stream, you could find that here. So you'll see like from our first few streams are a number of these topics. Again, I wanted you guys all to kind of pull up and just have a bunch of content to watch for those who have been paying attention to the stream. And we'll be here. I'm not subscribed to my own channel. We'll be here pretty much every day because we have so many topics that load up here. Again, the link for this channel is down below. Simon Turner, incredible artist. He did Retro Rebounds art. He did the Matty Slop stuff. I sent him where is the game here? Hang on, just so you guys know the inspiration for it. Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. Let me bring this up here. This is one of my favorite games, and I just love like the branding that this series does. So I sent him like a can. I said, like, you know, let's call it what it is. Like, it's a channel of just like I'm throwing shit at it, right? So Matty Slop is the name. I thought it was fun, and it's kind of got that old vintage branding to it. Simon Turner killed it on this one. He's even helped us a little bit with our game a few years ago too. So just really thankful for him. Thankful for Emmett to getting this channel off the ground. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, link down below. Get subscribed to Matty Slop. There will be videos like most days. We're going to figure out the uploading schedule over time a little bit, though. Like, if people really don't like what we're doing, like, it's going to adjust. But, yeah, shout out to Emmett for producing, making these videos happen. They're all there for you to watch. And after the stream, that's like I said, we're going to kind of figure out, like, how do we want to break these up? How often do people want videos? I already post a lot. But like I said, think of this as in addition to. So link down below, get subbed. If you want to know kind of my goal in my head, I don't think it'll happen through this stream because this is more like a soft announcement where we'll make a separate video kind of talking about my mindset and what we're trying to do here. I want some like early impressions and reactions. But man, like when we launched Retro Rebound, it started with 5K subs. That went such a long way. And we see where that channel's at now. It's about to hit 250,000 subscribers. It's got its own viewer base. Like, it's totally different. So Matty Slop, I hope, follows a similar trajectory where it opens the door for me to be able to talk about things that don't really make the cut from the main channel. Like, I don't want to follow up on High Guard a ton on my main channel. That's for, like, you guys know I follow up on Bethesda and BioWare and Obsidian, and I follow up on CD Projekt Red, Xbox. Like, we find these pockets, like big RPGs. But there are a lot of games that I play and stuff that interests me. Like, I wanted to talk about Dispatch. That's not going to really fit my channel, though. So this is a great place for it to land. There are ones like the Obsidian deep dives or videos that I've got comments on in the past where people are like, yeah, this didn't really need like the full Mr. Matty treatment. I'm like, okay, I like to talk about these things though. What can I do about it? So this is the solution. So I appreciate you guys subscribing. Again, linked down below here. We're already at 86. Thank you guys. But again, link down below. Please join Matty Slop and enjoy all the content that we have here. Again, I wanted to just make sure there was a nice little archive so you could kind of see the vision simply when you were there. I don't expect any of these videos to do well for a while, but we're building something here. So again, link down below. Please subscribe to Matty Slop, and I appreciate you guys supporting the streams enough and like leaving your comments, especially when we did our Fallout 3 stream, just this last one for the news. And I was reading the comments and I saw the top one with almost like 200 thumbs up was like, hey Matt, can you like do like separate uploads for these? And so, yeah, I was just really happy to see like this was a thing that people were going to want. So yeah, obviously, if you guys have questions about the channel, I'm happy to answer them now before we dive into the news. But I just wanted to show you this new channel, again, linked down below. I haven't checked the chat though. I was in the middle of my ramble. You know how your boy gets. Matty Slop has so much potential. Thank you. Thank you. Narn RPG talk is entertaining. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, there's going to be a lot of stuff. Like, there are certain times, like, news updates happen that don't feel big enough for, like, a full deep dive like I do. And, like, this channel is a good place for that stuff to land, too. So, also, discussions. For example, this one here, this Bethesda video is the discussion video. Like, that's also what we're going to do. There's just sometimes topics I want to dive into that aren't just like, you know, ready for prime time, but like I still want to dive into it. Thank you. I'm glad you guys love the art. Someone asked about if the streams are going to move over to this channel. They're not. I wanted to make sure like the audience here could see the streams that they wanted to. This is like my main, this is my home base, right? And this channel is kind of like where other stuff is going to land. And again, my making of Retro Rebound kind of taught me that like when it gets split up like this, I know some people are like, why don't you take like maybe some of these streams and put them on the Mr. Matty channel? I think it's a fair question to ask, but just like as someone who's experimented a lot, that stuff never goes well. It's always like important to when you're going to take a new venture, you don't want to disrupt what you already have. I mean, truth be told, a lot of people do rely on me for a paycheck. I hire like 10 people for our game right now. And so I want to make sure that I don't rock the boat too hard here. And also this, to be very upfront, a goal with this is to kind of like work a little smarter and be out there more without like killing myself. You know, you've seen me take swings before, like doing big Patreon swings, you know, humanity's worst games, you know, documentaries. You've seen me take swings like Retro Revive and doing like movies every week, 3 movie videos a week. Like this felt like a sustainable option for us where, you know, we got something that people want. It's more of what I already do. It's pretty simple for us to produce. Like we kind of have the format already, and we can add on top of this more like individual videos. And you know, I gotta be honest. I like the thumbnail style. I do like the thumbnail style. Retro Rewind died for Matty Slaw. All right. I appreciate the kind words in the chat, guys. You know, I'm like I said, I'm really excited about it because I think it's got a lot of potential here. Nazar, thank you for your super chat. My pleasure. And greetings from South Africa. That's awesome to see. More streaming, more content. Genuinely very happy news. You're in my top for anything gaming. Only started KOTOR from you and can't wait to hear you talk about ME5. Yeah, thank you, dude. I appreciate it. That's, I think, a perfect example. Like, I don't want to make these videos that feel like on Mr. Matty, like I'm stretching a topic into something. So, like, sometimes BioWare, like, I think of like Veilguard where they posted like an alpha update. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, for those topics, I think this is a great landing pad for it. So, again, Matty Slop is linked down below. We're already over 100 subscribers, which is really appreciated, guys. Ember saying the thumbnails can be better. Always the critic of yourself, my friend. Yeah, thank you guys for supporting. Good to see the early birds subbing up. We had like 460 of you guys here and already over 100 subscribers. This is awesome. And I'll be making a video on this, like I said, over the weekend to kind of like redirect people. But yeah, appreciate you guys supporting and making this thing happen. It's really fun. As Mr. Matty plays, no longer play. No, we'll play. Oh, we'll play. Don't worry. Because that's the other thing. Let me get into the vision a little bit more here. I did some interviews last year, right? A lot of people really liked those interviews. Some were hit and miss. Like the Ken Levine interview did really well, but I was kind of disappointed with the Fargo interview. And I had a lot of like indie devs reach out who were like, we want to do an interview with you. And I was like, well, if like certain RPG titans aren't pulling numbers, like how are we going to get more people to check out these indie interviews? Like how can we get special guests involved? That's where, like, again, this is going to really come into form here. Trust the vision is what I would say. I think this will really come into form here where you're going to have like more guests, more like impression pieces, just like those little things, right? Where Mr. Matty becomes a lot more definitive, sense of finality, bigger videos. That's kind of the vision there without changing anything. Like it's still news, reviews, previews, whatever's on my mind. But now we have another landing spot for these other things. And before anyone calls it a money play, you can't even turn on monetization until you get a certain amount of watch time. So just to be clear, you know, but anyway, thank you guys for supporting this. Again, link down below. Half-Life 1 and 2 videos on Retro Rebound. Hi, Rufus. Hello. You want to say hello? Yay. Can you guys see him? Hold on. Let me see if you guys can see Rufus. Yeah, you can. The chat's blocking him. Look at him. Hold on. Oh, he's scared of the mic. I forgot. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Oh. What? He's so crazy. He's so crazy. That's the dog that didn't poop outside. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking about... Look at him sniffing my finger. He's so funny. He's so cute. Appreciate you guys being here. 500. Love that. Shilling for his own channel. Yeah. Come subscribe, man. Come subscribe. Be part of the fun. All right. We got news to get into today. A Baldur's Gate 3 TV show. We'll talk about it. Steam Machine update. Horizon Hunters Gathering. Pretty interesting one there. Todd Howard responding to the New Vegas lore changes. So we'll kind of do a little... I'm saving that for last because it's going to be like a little more of a spoiler-filled conversation. And so for those who don't want to hear that, they can just tap out. But yeah, that'll be here. And then if we got some time, Crimson Desert. I don't really have anything going on today because I'm home alone. My wife is away for a few days on a work trip. And so I'm just like totally just by myself. I'm like, what the hell do I do? Like, I was just like, I'm just going to do what I usually do. I'm just going to game and whatnot. But I was like, maybe I'll go out to eat today. Maybe I'll go see a movie by myself too. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the plans for this evening are. So we might have more time, you know, might have more time. I want to see Marty Supreme. That's one that's been on my list for a while here. And, I have yet to catch it. And I think the next showing is it's at 9:30. So we got time. We got time. She left me unsupervised. Yes, Vanilla. I'm left unsupervised. And because of that, I launched a new channel. No, I appreciate y'all keeping me company. Because like, again, like I'm so used to my wife. Like we're always together. So it's like when she wasn't here, I was like, dude, like what? Like, what do I do? I wanted to see Iron Lung Honey, but I'm just going to like self-report here. I don't want to see a horror movie when I'm by myself here for like a while. I'm good, man. I'm good. All right, let's see here. We got Vintage Grapes with the super chat. Got any GameCube game recommendations for tonight? Oh, here's an obscure one. Naruto, not Ninja Council, Clash of Ninja. I love those games. Just really great Naruto fighting games. I wish they made more of them. I mean, they did do Clash of Ninja on the Wii, but I wish like it didn't die because Ultimate Ninja Storm took off. That would have been really nice. But that's one I'm going to recommend to you. I feel like the GameCube library is really cliched. You know, there's like, oh, go play Mario Kart Double Dash or go play Kirby Air Riders. No. Like go play Naruto Clash of Ninja. That's my suggestion. Really fun game. What do we got here? Riley, appreciate your super chat, Maddie. I'm working on a hate platinum for Fallout 76 just to say I have them all. What can Bethesda learn or forget from the game for Fallout 5? It's so funny. I love this term. I love the term hate platinum because that's almost what I did before I went for New Vegas. Now I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, I platinum 3, I platinum New Vegas, I platinum 4. It's like, oh shit, I kind of need to platinum 76 at some point. What can Bethesda learn or forget from... Okay, I'm trying not to give you a dramatic response. My first initial gut thought was like everything. Because anything that's good in 76 was brought back from traditional Fallout games. Like, oh, it's more single player. Yeah, like great starting point. You can play it solo, I should say. You know, great starting point. The things that would make 76 better as an online game would be making a traditional Fallout game. Like, oh, make it more online, more choice and consequence. Like, less focus on building. I think the whole settlement crafting is just there for the atomic shop, and a bunch of whales take advantage of that store, and they lied about how Fallout First wasn't going to like affect gameplay, and it ends up affecting gameplay. Like your stash limit is terrible without the subscription service. So there's so many things that just are baked into that shitty cake. I don't know how else to put it. Like, did it really add anything? Is what I think about at the end of the day. I'm like, I like some of the new locations in Burning Springs. Like they added a mini golf course. That was cool. But yeah, 76 is arcadey with the mutations. Like even that, like the mutations could be interesting if they made it more horror like. I don't know. I think there's a lot you just forget from that game. I think the only things that Bethesda would be interested in truly carrying over, like if you're looking at them as artists, the art styling, like the setting and the variety of it is really good. I would say there's my positivity. There we go. I was really hunting for it. I like the open map of Appalachia. I do like that a lot. Very vibrant, lots going on, parts completely destroyed, some not so much. Good mixture of like history and fantastical. It's a good map. That's about all I got for you right now off the top of the dome, man. Like it's yeah, I that's all I got. I'm sorry. I appreciate the super chat, but that's all I got for you, man. Thank you for writing in. Appreciate almost 600 of you hanging out here today. Iron Lung isn't scary. It's more unnerving. Could I handle that? Mojave Knight says six videos in one day. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of videos. That's for sure. I mean, again, I normally like to launch, like when I've done channel launches, like I like to do just one video, and that's kind of it. But when I was talking to my wife about it, she was kind of just like, well, if I see like a new page, I want to know there's a commitment to it. And I feel like that's the thing that you've like struggled with in the past, is like making sure people know like this is gonna be a thing. And so we just kind of decided, yeah, like views be damned, like let's just fire it up. Just make sure it's like when people show up, there's stuff for them to watch. So yeah. Is that true, Rune? That Crimson Desert reviews are out next week? There's no way. I think didn't the game like just go gold? Riley, that's a good point. Creatures like Mole Miner, Scorch Beast, those are cool. Yeah, that'd be a cool part of 76. There are some interesting, like the kind of mythical element, the what do they call it? The cryptids, that sort of thing. That'd be nice. Oh boy, I'm making a purchasing decision for Echo here. PS5 or PS5 Pro? I don't know your screen setup. After I got like a 4K OLED monitor, though, like I kind of am a PS5 Pro truther. They're also dropping some update soon for it as well that you could kind of use to gauge your decision on for PSSR. Depends if you're like a fidelity snob, frame rate snob, that sort of thing, or do you not care about that? My beast PS5 gets me on fine, but if you have like a really good setup and you want to take full advantage of it, the PS5 Pro gives you that kind of console ease without like really, any, how do I describe it? It gives you the ease of using a console while still getting some sort of like perks that are stronger hardware, not PC level, but it's like there. It's the strongest console on the market, right? So, again, I don't know if you got the screen setup though, but hopefully that helps. I think if you're just trying to save money, you're like, I just want a gaming rig, like I want a little system, just get the PS5. Are you a fan of the One Piece live action? I have not watched it yet, but my wife is really interested now because I mean she loves One Piece. She's seen like most of the episodes. I've only watched just past Alabasta, so it's a lot. I mean, for any other show, that's a lot. It's multiple shows in one. But she loves Boa Hancock, and I guess she's coming to like the new season or something like that. So she's like, we have to watch. So I'm gonna check it out. Why not? So you kind of just seen one piece of it. Yes. Well said. Well said. Let me get our first story organized here. Apologies for my clicking around and looking at other screens while y'all are chatting here. I also want to promote this on Twitter. I forgot to promote our last stream. It's like, bruh. There we go. Video link. I'm so bad at promoting stuff. Okay, there we go. Tweets out. All right. Let's get this story organized here. What's wrong with the New Jersey Devils? I can't talk, dude. I'm a Rangers fan, and everything's wrong with us. You should stream some sort of gaming. I mean, you mean like gaming, like playing some games? Because if so, I got you. Don't worry, Froggy. We're about to start the news here. I wanted to show off the channel. We had some yapping. You know, we open with some yapping. All right. Let's see here. Baldur's Gate. Let's get that going. That'll obviously be our first story here. Okay. I have a lot of links for this one. Whoa, B. Scott. Holy shit, man. Thank you. He says, always enjoy your videos. Dude, thank you. That's so nice of you. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting that way, man. Really appreciate that. That's so nice. So nice. You guys don't have to do that. I just, like I always say, like, I just want y'all here. That's what matters to me. The super chats are obviously a bonus and appreciate, and I love the interaction, but just having y'all hanging out here while we do this is like the real treat. So just thanks for supporting and making this stuff possible. It's like, I see like lots of new streamers still trying to get started, and it is tough to like just go live and not like a lot of people are there. So I'm just really thankful to have an audience here. So just thanks for supporting. Thanks for super chatting. I appreciate you guys a lot. Let's see here. What do we got? I'm still getting all these friggin' links up, man. Holy shit. See, there's no, bro, I swear. So it's like a built-in ad blocker for Opera GX, which just helps for like when I'm like recording for our streams here. Like I like to just make sure there's no pop-ups, no like weird ads that are going to like show up on all these websites that are loaded with them. And it's like every site you click on, they're like, we notice you have ad blocker off. I'm like, stop spying on me, dude. Leave me be. Brad, I would love to stream KOTOR, but the problem with trying to stream KOTOR is like the game is so old that like trying to hook it into streaming software, even like capturing gameplay. I guess I could do it on the Switch though, couldn't I? But yeah, it's like, I remember trying to stream that on PC one time, and I did a 24-hour stream like many years ago. Tough. Did not go well. What do we got here? We got Vanilla Spooks, who says, it's been roughly a year since Mass Effect 5 was kicked back into development. Where would you want the game to pick back up at? New before ME2, ME3 ending. I think the most interesting thing is after Mass Effect 3's ending and just like building, basically doing what Andromeda was supposed to do, like building out a new storyline, some new characters, but keeping and retaining some elements from the previous trilogy. Like, I think what would have been more smart for them to do is, instead of getting away from Shepard and the entire crew and doing Andromeda, that like Mass Effect's original trilogy is its own trilogy, and they start a new trilogy that's in like the somewhat distant future, but there's characters like we're seeing here, like a Liara, that can return because of like the way this alien race functions. So I do have interest in the direction they're going. Obviously, with BioWare nowadays, it's a little bit more difficult because to believe, because they're not as good of a developer as I remember them as. Man, good times, good old times. I like KOTOR and Jade Empire and Dragon Age and everything. So they're at least picking up some decent ideas, is what I can say. But that's what I'd want. Follow up Mass Effect 3 in a meaningful way. Hey, Maddie, I watched the latest DD and want to know why you consider Neo an incidental exclusive when the whole series is. Thanks for streaming. My pleasure. So the way I was thinking about it when I said that was because I think, if based on where Koei Tecmo is going and how they've partnered with Xbox and whatnot, I feel like they would want their games to be multi-platform. But again, like making games for the Xbox One at the time was kind of, it's where they're at now with Xbox. It's kind of like there's a base there, but you kind of need the extra resources to pay for it, because there's a chance it may not get supported. Like a Japanese style game doesn't get as much support on Xbox as, I mean, you know, like I think of the 360 days where they were like exclusive JRPGs, but it's a lot different nowadays. So like developers really have to consider that with the money they're going to spend on making that port for that system there. So hopefully that makes some sense, where I'm like, when I say incidental, I'm like, now Neo's really popular, and the third one has a shortened exclusivity window, and I think it's day and date on PC as well already. So like we're already part of the way there. It's just now that it's out there and there's a Neo collection, bring that to Xbox as well. Probably also the motivator to bring it to Xbox is like also bringing it to Switch, kind of like what Final Fantasy was doing. What are your thoughts on the Bethesda game keycard versus download in a box? I'm fine with game keycard, but I despise download in a box, and I'm upset Fallout is download in a box. Yeah, when game keycard exists, like game keycards suck in my opinion, but when game keycards do exist, Matt, I think to myself, like, you can't do download in a box. At least there's that. But I mean, they're really cutting costs. I found it disappointing because Bethesda had the opportunity to do something like really cool where they could put like the full game and all the DLC and all of the creations on a single cart and like preserve the game. I mean, that was a huge selling point for Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk's an amazing game, of course, and getting it on Switch when it launched, for the Switch 2, I should say, like that was awesome. But, you know, like now I think Fallout's going to be already unappealing because it's just going to be like a code. So yeah, it's whack. I agree. I've been watching since 2014 during the Fallout 4 conspiracy days. Amazing to see how far you've come. Keep doing what you're doing. A near perfect channel. Whoa. Thank you. Deep cut. Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. I almost got all these links up here. And then we'll get started. I know I'm running a little slow today, so I apologize. There's just so many comments here. So many. Oh boy. I just pulled up the Rotten Tomatoes for season 2 of The Last of Us. That's why I was like, oh boy, we'll get into it. Okay, I think I got all my links, so we'll start with our first story here. Let me bring this over here. What's up, 2R? Good to see you, brother. All right, y'all ready? Story number 1. Appreciate your patience. I know, again, really slow moving today. We're gonna run a little faster now. Okay. Here we go. I can leave this here. Okay. Y'all ready? Now you get to watch Maddie Slop in real time. Lelander, I think I'm saying your name. Lelander? Might be saying your name wrong. Appreciate the super chat. B. Scott, appreciate you becoming a sub or a member. You're subscribing as a member. Crossing wires here. Okay. Let's do this, man, because this is a big one. So, Baldur's Gate 3. One of my favorite RPGs of all time. And boy, does it have quite a backstory on it getting made, but also after it was made, and then it released, and then it did really well. Where Larian could have gone with it. It's this ultimate fork in the road moment here. Now, as we'll talk about in a little bit here, Larian decided not to make Baldur's Gate 4 or Baldur's Gate 3 DLC, which was a pretty big plot twist in my opinion. I think we all saw that success that they had, and compared to something like a Divinity Original Sin 2, thought to ourselves, oh, they got to make more Baldur's Gate, right? No doubt about that. Well, they didn't. Again, key part of the story. So now you got your Hasbro, you have the rights to this very lucrative property that Larian just popularized. What do? Baldur's Gate 4, right? Find another developer. How do we follow this up? We're making a TV show. Deadline's got the report here. Baldur's Gate TV series continuing the game's story. And boy, what a read is this. This is coming from Craig Mazin, who was behind the Last of Us TV show. Now, season 1 of The Last of Us went over pretty well. You know, people seem to really like it. However, season 2, as you can see here, quite the opposite. That popcorn meter is not hot. Led to a lot of discussion online that they completely betrayed what The Last of Us is. I think of the scene of like, I'm going to be a dad now. And just, yeah, like lines that just didn't need to be there. And a lot of that people blame Craig as well as Neil for. But now Neil Druckmann has pulled out of the show entirely and is focused completely on games at Naughty Dog, which I thought was a good call. So that is Craig's mess to clean up. And that show has kind of damaged his reputation a little bit here. But here's what Deadline writes. Craig Mazin, co-creator of the arguably most acclaimed TV adaptation of a video game to date, HBO's The Last of Us, will be taking on another hugely popular and acclaimed title next in Baldur's Gate 3. HBO is developing Baldur's Gate, a drama series based on Wizard of the Coast video game franchise, with Mazin attached to create, write, executive produce and showrun the TV adaptation. Also executive producing are Jacqueline Lesko, Cecil O'Connor, and Hasbro Entertainment's Gabriel Morano. Chris Perkins, the former longtime head of story at Hasbro subsidiary Wizards of the Coast, which is behind the D&D game universe, will serve as a consultant. So, right away, you do not see the name Larian mentioned at all. No Sven Vincke, no writers from Larian, no mention of Larian at all. That's a big part of this story, right? Because they don't seem to be involved, at least not yet. Now, continuing on with this article, they say that unlike the Last of Us series, this is not going to retell the games. It's going to be a continuation to the games, telling a story that takes place immediately after the events of Baldur's Gate 3, as the characters, old and new, are dealing with the ramifications of the events in the third game. Okay, so I could be optimistic about this in one way. I could be really pessimistic about it in another way, right? The question is, where can they take the story? We won't spoil Baldur's Gate 3 for those who haven't played or finished it yet and are interested in doing so. But basically, one thing Larian did with the post-launch support for Baldur's Gate 3 was they added a lot of epilogues to all of the characters. Not just your main party members, but like some characters that you could kill, such as one I think of that's a returning character from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, that you could kill in Baldur's Gate 3. They might make it to that epilogue area where you could talk to them there. The problem with the epilogues is that there are a ton of different ways they can go based on the choices you've made throughout your journey there. Now, the way the epilogues leave things off is why we all thought that Larian was going to do DLC or an expansion or a Baldur's Gate 4 was like, oh, this journey is going to continue for these characters, no doubt about it. So when Larian didn't do the DLC or the sequel for Hasbro, this is their pivot. They're like, we'll continue this story with these characters because this is money, and we're going to do it through a TV show here. Now, again, am I most optimistic? I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, they're going against what Fallout Season 2 just did, and that might be a good thing. Like, Fallout Season 2, it had a big problem with not picking a canon ending. But also, Fallout Season 2 just had to dance around 4 endings. You probably could throw 4,000 choices as a number within Baldur's Gate 3 that just shape and shift your experience. And so whatever line that they pick to build off of here becomes the canonical line, which I think, again, can be interesting if I'm being optimistic here. But when I look at the whole TV show situation here and I see, like, we're continuing this story, I'm like, so you're telling me what that canon ending is going to be, and everything else no longer matters? My dog just scared the life out of me. Whoa, that was you guys could hear him barking? My goodness, hold on, let's time out. I gotta check on him, hold on. Hey. My goodness. Oh, he's such a reactive dog. There was another dog walking outside and he just freaked out, so I had to close the blinds. Okay, my bad, guys. Where was I? We were talking a little bit here about Baldur's Gate 3, story continuation, right. So, in my most optimistic point of view here, I feel like, okay, you can build off existing characters and do something interesting with the epilogues that were created there. The baton pass does exist. However, there's just so many threads from that baton pass, I worry a little bit about that. Again, picking a canon ending isn't really like the worst choice in the world, but I always imagine this being like the story would continue through Baldur's Gate 4 and it would be like a new partner that would do this. Like Owlcat Games to me was like a perfect partner for a Baldur's Gate 4, but they're really busy right now. They're working on like The Expanse, new Warhammer 40K RPG. Like they got a lot going on there, but they would have been perfect for it. So that's my like quick take on sort of the good and bad of continuing that story there. I just feel like it's fodder for messing it up, even if the threads are there. And here's what they say here. After putting nearly 1,000 hours into the incredible world of Baldur's Gate 3, it is a dream come true to be able to continue the story that Larian and Wizards of the Coast created. I am a devoted fan of D&D in the brilliant way that Sven Vincke and his gifted team adapted it. I can't wait to help bring Baldur's Gate and all of its incredible characters to life with as much respect and love as we can, and I'm deeply grateful to Gabe Morano and his team at Hasbro for entrusting me with this incredibly important property here. With no ties to another Baldur's Gate game in development, Mazin has freedom over the direction of the story, making it more of a traditional show versus The Last of Us, whose plot and lifespan were determined by the existing games. So, yeah, man, like, just they're taking a big risk here. This could go one way or the other. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 earned its right to be a TV show. 20 million copies sold to date is no joke whatsoever here. Also, on top of this, again, like I mentioned, Baldur's Gate 3 not getting DLC. Why didn't that happen? Well, Sven Vinke said it was because it was boring. He says, I mean, happy player, happy business, but you also need to have a happy developer for a happy player. And what we're doing now makes the developers way more happy. This is what we're supposed to do, right? He explained. Oh, we got a huge game hit. We have DLC. We have to make DLC for this, DLC for that, DLC there, and the money's going to pile up. And then we all just nod and say, yeah, we'll make the DLCs with all these pop-ups. And that is something that we had time to think. And then we realized, what are you doing? Progressive insight is not a bad thing. So sometimes you go down the wrong path and just say, oh, fuck it, and just change course, pardon my French, and do something else. He says, Baldur's Gate will always have a warm spot in our heart. We're going to be forever proud of it, but we're not going to continue it. We're not making any new expansions, which everybody's expecting. We're not going to make Baldur's Gate 4, which everybody's expecting us to do. We're going to move on. So this is what led to the TV show being made here. Like, Larian making a unprecedented decision has led to the TV show. Some other little bit of information here on why they did this. They went this way because Larian said that Baldur's Gate 4 couldn't really happen because of the constraints of D&D combat. This is something they talked about a lot with of course, Divinity, that the combat is going to be very different, and that they blamed the kind of D&D 5th edition rule set here, which had a lot of constraints, and that's why they wanted to make Divinity, because I guess they have some big plans for combat that they couldn't do otherwise here. This is something that Sven actually said that counter to expectations, he's never been more sure about a strategy shift here, and I really respect that take here, because it takes guts, and certainly they made a lot of money here. There's also a couple of little bit of additional little tea, I would call it, on why we ended up here. In the AMA that Larian just did over Divinity, they were asked about Baldur's Gate 3 for Switch 2, and they said we would love to, but it wasn't our decision to make. Nate the Hate then commented on this and said that while Larian would love to bring it to Switch 2, their relationship with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast is not healthy. This is something that they have denied as recently as 2024. Despite this news story being quite recent. Sven did say that reading the Reddit threads, I would like to clear up something. Wizards of the Coast is not to blame for us taking a different direction. On the contrary, they really did their best and have been a great licensor for us, letting us do our thing. This is because it's what's best for Larian. So, I mean, Sven's a professional, really nice guy. There's that element too. Do you want to believe him or Nate the Hate, who's been like a spot-on leaker? I think both can be true at the same time, perhaps, here. Now, obviously, we want to know how Larian is feeling about this TV show adaptation, because what we saw here was Larian is not involved, right? So what did Sven have to say about this? He wrote the following: crazy that a story that started out in a small hotel conference room eventually evolved into a narrative inspiring enough to become an HBO series. We worked incredibly hard on making Baldur's Gate 3 worthy of its legacy, and then its characters and its narrative are the result of many teams working together. And I think I can speak for them all in saying that they'll think this is cool and hope that what comes next will enjoy the same level of passion. The endings of Baldur's Gate 3 were created so that they could serve as narrative soil for new adventures. There's plenty of directions they could go. I'm eager to find out which one Craig and his team will pick. He's reached out for a chat, so we'll have the opportunity to tell him our thoughts. Crossing our fingers that the story we're cooking up for Divinity will eventually grow to the same heights. Certainly we're putting in the hours. And I'd love to hear that they're even thinking on that big of a level already for Divinity. But yeah, they're going to talk to Larian at the very least. But this was announced without any sort of Larian involvement. And then when they were asked, Sven, hey, is Larian's writers consulting on the show? He said, not to my knowledge, but Craig did reach out to ask us if we could come over to the studio and speak with us. From the conversation we had, I think he's truly a big fan, which gave me some hope. So Sven isn't doing out there like a lot of us here, which is at least encouraging. And Larian's having a great time with it. They're like talking about fan casting for this show. So that's kind of what you got here with this situation. Sven isn't totally down on it. Meanwhile, though, if you go to let me bring up his profile here. If you go up to Cromwell's profile and you scroll through some of his posts here, he was the one who was just like, oh, I'm out. Red flag here. Like, son, what are we fucking doing here? I'm out. So, I mean, Larian is always allowed their team to express themselves. Maybe he feels a particular way about it versus Sven. But I feel like when you read into that a little bit, it's like, oh boy. ultimately it comes down to this, right? Will the freedom of all these different storylines and again, a new story, right? You're building off of something. Is that going to allow Craig to be a little more creatively free if that was the problem compared to something like The Last of Us Season 2 where they just kind of got like stir crazy with it and had to change things that didn't need to be changed? I mean, I also come from like the background of I'm not like a big fan of The Last of Us Part 2 story in the first place. Like that's just where I am. But something like this TV show here has the potential to go in an interesting direction, but I don't know, man. I read this all and I don't know how you feel confident in this immediately, right? Like even if he cares, even if he's a big fan, track record kind of speaks for itself in good and bad ways. Some people are starting to call him a one-hit wonder, which I think can be a little bit fair now to say. Larry not being heavily involved, but just being asked and consulted is something here. So, you know, from that point, once they give them his feedback, it doesn't sound like it's going to be additional collaboration. So I want to believe I would rather this be done in a video game. I feel like if I'm Hasbro and you're not doing a Baldur's Gate 4 because that's going to be the TV show, I hope they remake Baldur's Gate 2. It's a lot of people's favorite games of all time. It's one of the best RPGs ever made, according to a lot of people who have played it. I think modernizing that would be a good choice without worrying about how do we follow up a legacy performance from Larian. It's like, okay, just take Baldur's Gate 2 and make it prettier. Don't change anything else, and that'll work. So that's their plan. This also may not be in substitute of Baldur's Gate 4. Like Baldur's Gate 4 could be at a different point in a timeline somewhere. I don't know. But that's what's going on. Baldur's Gate TV series on the way. Pretty shocking. I really didn't expect this to be a pivot after they didn't do DLC or Baldur's Gate 4. It was like, yeah, let's do a TV show and continue the story that way. So we'll see. But I think these worlds thrive on choice and consequence and just how you change the story. Like, I think the narrative for Baldur's Gate 3 is great, but I think it's great because of the ways I can mold it. That's what makes it so impactful. When you can't mold it and these characters are rigid and you're just watching things happen, it's a whole different like viewer-creator relationship that we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That Baldur's Gate TV show ought to be fun to watch one way or another. All right. I'm curious what everyone's thinking about this one, y'all. We got some super chats as well to catch up on. What we got here? Let's see. 85th Batman fan, thank you for your donation. Iron Rook. It's definitely risky to take a different television writing team and have them expand on a story-rich CRPG, a niche genre that was so good it dominated Game of the Year and drew mainstream success. Rook, good to see you, brother. I agree. Just a really risky endeavor. So I'll take the we'll see approach. Like that's kind of become my default state. I think it's really easy nowadays to like justifiably default to fuck this is going to be awful. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Like I don't look at this and feel good, but at least I'll wait till I see a trailer, right? Like that's when I'll decide what side of the fence I'm really on. So yeah, like can we even do like casting? Like they also mentioned here, I forgot to throw this in here. Where is it? Hold on. Let me control F for this. Oops, wrong browser tab. Because I think they said in the article here from Deadline that they're reaching out to the... Yeah, here we go. I forgot to include this. Mason, who is now just starting his own journey with the material as his deal just closed, plans to reach out to voice cast members of Baldur's Gate 3 with ideas for them to participate in the TV show adaptation if possible. So that'll be interesting because it says he and Last of Us co-creator Neil Druckmann did it on their HBO series with several actors from the game, most notably Merle Dandridge, who reprised her role as Marlene. So I don't know, like what character looks like their character? It's like enough makeup can make anyone look like Karlach. Will's got horns. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they pull anyone in there. I suspect that people will be very protective of Shadowheart. Good to see you, Andor. Thank you. Tom Hiddleston for Asterion. That'd be an interesting one. I like that. Very Loki-esque. That'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. Any chance we'll see a Fable 1, 2, or 3 playthrough before the revive. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do retro rebound deep dives on those. You know, once I get a hard date, that'll help. Did I see Indiana Jones is fully on cartridge? I did not, but that's very good to see. I'm very excited about that. Jesse, I'm probably not doing a Neo 3 review, but I'll be playing it later this year. Denzel Washington is Asterion. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's have some fun with it. That won't piss anyone off. It would have to have extremely good writing and casting, have a chance of success from the fan base. I don't see how much appeal it could have for the casual audience when the story from the end of 3 story. That's true too. That's a really good point. Like, how do you introduce this to the masses if no one knows what happened to Karlach, what happened to Shadowheart, what happened to Will, what happened to Get? Like, you don't know what happened to any of these characters going in, right? That's such a good point. If you're totally new to this, that's kind of like a worrying element from the start. You can't recap their story because the whole point of the show is to build off of the story. Yeah, man. I'll wait for the trailer. I mean, it's an HBO series. It'll get some money, right? It'll get some money. I think. I'm going to pull up my next story here. I figure I'll move a little quicker because I know I made you guys wait a lot on the other news bits that we were covering. Oh, Turtle Deity. Yeah, this is this here. Yeah, so purple juice. You're close. What we've got here, cherry pomegranate. But you might remember if y'all were sitting here during our big juice debate last week, you might remember that I did mention I was considering a little mix. And what I did today was I threw some of our orange and carrot juice in here because I had a little bit of each, right? And I figured, okay, I'm going to get rid of them both here. Clear some space out in the fridge. I pour both of them in here, take a little spoon, swirl it up. So what you've got here is like some of you were like, oh, is it cranberry juice? Again, what do you take me for? What we got here is cherry, pomegranates, carrot, oranges squeezed together into one delicious elixir. And man, let me tell you what, it is really good. It's not spat out chew. Come on, Raiden. With a splash of Sunny D. Apparently the worst juice ever. Are you going to play Code Veronica? It's a sequel to Claire's story from RE2. I also just played RE Revelations, both RE Revelations games. I thought they were pretty good, especially if you want more Jill and Claire. Oh, Jill is in the... Okay. I haven't played Revelations yet. All right. Cool. I was just saying when I finished RE3 Remake, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Jill doesn't come back, but that's interesting. I want to see more of that, so I'll check those out for sure. Code Veronica, I am going to play. That's also... now knowing that's a sequel to Claire's story, that makes sense now why they're remaking it. I was wondering why they're going remaking it. I thought it was kind of like a spin-off thing because I was asking Cog about it because he played it, but he said it'd been so long that he doesn't remember. So now seeing that, I'm like, oh, they're doing a cohesive movie. Because I was like, why wouldn't they go and remake 5? But knowing this, I'm gonna play the GameCube version. Sometime this year, I think. I'm on like a big Resident Evil tear. I might take a little break afterwards, of course. And with the Code Veronica remake on the way, I'll start planning like another Resident Evil binge, but probably hit the spin-offs. I'm hitting the main line right now. But yeah, I'll definitely be playing this. No doubt about it. Curious your thoughts on Bungie's upcoming game Marathon. I'm really excited about it. I was able to play a closed playlist test for it, so I'm hopeful. Yeah, it's done in a remarkable turnaround, man. I mean, they just might pull it off. I am so surprised after all the plagiarism stuff that they have, in such a short window of time, all things considered. It wasn't like a massive delay. We're talking September to March, I think is when it's coming out, right? What a dramatic flip from where they once were. So for me, like I mentioned in my video, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, but it's I don't know. It's really hard to be excited for something that you know had that sort of like plagiarism stink on it. It creates a level of doubt. So I don't know. I want to be open minded and be like, why not give it a try? But like, I guess if people are like, it's fire, maybe. But I just like Maddie, you don't get it. It's fire. But I don't know, man. Just after everything that happened, again, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, but it's just, I don't know. Like that's a hard thing to forgive. Like a full on art style rip. I know people were fired and they did right by Anti-Real, so maybe I am being a stick in the mud here. But it just feels wrong. It's like, am I doing the wrong thing? Am I like punishing people who are working hard on this that didn't do anything, really creatively bankrupt? That's the thought that goes through my head. So it's a little tough. I don't know. Echo, thank you for your donation. Appreciate you. Reanimal, yes or no? Have you played the demo? I did play the demo. Really good. I'm excited for it. I will be playing this one for sure. I got a friend lined up for a little co-op, so I think that's going to be a good time. What's up, Jay? Good to see you, man. Welcome back. Let's get this second story rolling, y'all. Kind of a slow day. We don't have as many viewers this week, so we can just kind of keep just going. Appreciate those of you who are here. This next story, we're going to talk a little bit about the Steam Machine. So yeah, let's get it going here. Okay. So the Steam Machine is something I'm really excited for. Because at least when it was announced, I thought to myself, I thought a number of things. Like my first thought was, oh, Xbox is losing ground in the hardware race. Here comes the perfect replacement. I was always worried, like, would Apple storm in? Would Amazon storm in? Like, who's going to take over that void in the market? It's going to be like Tencent's going to make their own hardware. Like, who is going to do this, right? But then here comes Valve. I'm like, oh, perfect. Then Valve starts talking more and more, and they're like, it's for our audience. This is for like PC gamers, et cetera, et cetera. And it's still exciting, but little by little, there were just touches of things that would whittle away at that raw excitement of like what it could be. Because, for example, I love my Steam Deck. I got mine right here next to me. Love this thing. Use it a lot. Steam Deck is awesome. So Steam Machine, like just being able to play that PC-like experience in the living room is awesome. So obviously the other concern as time went on was that they're not talking release date, they're not talking pricing, and we just watched OpenAI gobble up RAM, and Valve may or may not have been ready for that. And if they aren't ready for it, then just like every other company, their prices are going to go up. And I mentioned this in one of our videos talking about the Steam Machine, where a little bit of a corny line, but I said, there's no hero in this story. And that was a real bummer, because I feel like if anyone has been viewed as a hero in the gaming space, it's Valve. They just seem to make a lot of the right choices. Well, we have some updates on the Steam Machine, and while a little bit worrying, I think, on some level, they're about exactly as you expected. But if you were paying attention to like headline by headline, some of your expectations may have been subverted, because this really did start off with AMD. They were doing an earnings call, and as we can see here in this article from IGN, they say, it's according to comments made by CEO Lisa Su in AMD's latest earning call. Here is the exact quote. In gaming, revenue had increased 50% year over year to $843 million. Semi-custom sales increased year over year and declined sequentially as expected. For 2026, we expect semi-custom SoC annual revenue to decline by a significant double-digit percentage as we enter the 7th year of what has been a very strong console cycle. From a product standpoint, Valve is on track to begin shipping its AMD-powered Steam Machine early this year. Not exactly like too off from what we're going to get here, but people kind of thought, like, when Valve said early 2026 is when we were going to get our hands on this thing, we thought that that was going to be like by March, right? I think that was a fair expectation. So when we have AMD here saying like, yep, it's still happening earlier this year, did they know something we didn't know? We're going to get into that because now we have this blog post here from Valve, and it's called Steam Hardware Launch Timing and Other Frequently Asked Questions here. And what we get to go into here is everything from pricing, where they're at with that, to release windows and why they've been quiet for so long. For me, my anxiety has built up a little bit with the Steam Machine and like what the price is going to be, because again, a lot of it is, in fairness, out of Valve's hands. Like, how much do they want to sell this at a loss for? Do they want to sell this at a loss? at all. I mean, Skill Up did an interview with the people from Valve and asked if they're interested in like selling at a loss to kind of produce more units, kind of like a console, and Valve didn't seem interested in that. So as the price goes up, I don't think they're going to suddenly go like, well, $900 is too much. We have to eat at least a little bit of that. It doesn't seem like that's the goal with this hardware here. So let's read what they had to say here on this frequently asked questions blog post. They said, we started the Steam hardware blog as a way to specifically address topics around the Steam hardware. Let me zoom in a little bit here because this is a bit of a small web page here. And we wanted to start by tackling some of the most frequently asked questions that we received since announcing the Steam controller, machine, and frame on November 12th here. So before we dive into some hardware-specific questions we've seen, we want to get straight to the two we know everyone's wondering. When will these be launching and how much will they cost? When we announced these products in November, we planned on being able to share specific pricing and launch dates by now. But the memory and But the memory and storage shortages you've likely heard about across the industry have rapidly increased since then. The limited availability and growing prices of these critical components mean we must revisit exact shipping schedules and pricing, especially around the Steam machine and Steam frame. So what we're hearing now is like the controller is relatively fine, but as expected, the Steam machine had its price impacted by this shortage. Our goal of shipping all three products in the first half of the year has not changed, but we have to work to, I can't read today, but we have work to do to land on a concrete pricing and launch date that we can confidently announce, being mindful of how quickly the circumstances around both of those can change. We will keep you updated with as much as we can to finalize those plans as soon as possible. In the meantime, they give us a Q&A, which we'll also dive into. So what you see here again, first half is still the plan. So like June, the latest here, at least right now, unless things change. But we've read how with AI and stuff, like these prices aren't going to settle even well into next year. Like I think they're kind of here to stay because eventually what's going to happen is like these become the normal prices. And when you start to undercut those normal high prices, you're still making like wild profit on them, even when things start to regulate. I think companies are going to take a lot of advantage of that. Do I think Valve's going to? Not really, but I think other hardware manufacturers will. So it's hard to navigate this pricing environment where, you know, Valve's only going to wait so long. So I don't know if this delay is necessarily going to change the price in any dramatic way, but it seems like it's at least shaking back and forth enough where they're like, okay, before we land on like a hard, firm price here, let's wait a little bit. So that's what's going on. We have no release window. We have no price, but it seems like obviously we know it's taking longer and it's going to be more expensive than we thought, which is exactly what we kind of expected when the news started to break with OpenAI gobbling up all the RAM, but doesn't mean it feels good when it gets confirmed. We also got some new information here, though. A lot about the Steam frame and VR setup here. I really want to focus on the Steam machine here. They cover what the Steam machine can play and can it handle the newer, more demanding games on Steam. They said, in our testing, the majority of Steam titles play great at 4K 60 FPS with FSR on Steam machine. That said, there are some titles that currently require more upscaling than others, and it may be preferable to play at a lower frame rate with VRR to maintain a 1080p internal resolution. In the meantime, we are working on HDMI VRR, investigating improved upscaling, and optimizing ray tracing performance in the driver, so we are approaching this from multiple angles. This is actually kind of exciting. Like, I know they said it's a 4K 60 machine, but they haven't really folded on it. I wish they gave specific games here because that would go a long way. Like, they say majority of the Steam titles, but it's like, can you give us a year? What year's games are we talking about here? Are we talking about the whole library here? Are you talking about like a lot of the indie games and slot games that are on Steam? You know, like, I would love if they gave a couple of specific AAA examples that really push the limit there. I look at this, though, and my weird take here is when I see that most games play great in 4K 60 FSR, I think of Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition, and I'm like, oh, that's going to look nice. This is going to be my Final Fantasy 15 machine. I'm the weirdo who likes Final Fantasy 15. You'll have to pardon me on that one. But they're claiming again here that these newer games are going to run fine on here. But it does look like it's going to go as low as 1080p in some instances. And I feel like that's where your game's like a Crimson Desert. Is it really going to be a 4K 60 FPS experience on my Steam machine? I'd love that. We'll see. But yeah, I would have loved for them to give us some more game examples here. They also talked a bit about the faceplates, which I thought was cool. They said, will third parties be able to make faceplates for the Steam machine? And they said, yes, we plan to share faceplate ZAD specs and details in the coming months for customers and manufacturers to make their own. I think this is great. PlayStation's hella weird for having a problem with people making their own faceplates because they wanted to sell their own at like a friggin' premium. I think Valve is rightfully learning that lesson from PlayStation and making sure people can make their own faceplates, because it can be that, we can see right here at the bottom of the screen, like it could be this blank machine, or you could make something fun and creative with it, depending on like what your living room environment is or wherever you put this machine. And I think that's awesome. They talk a little bit about the Steam controller as well. They say the controller can work with any game compatible with Steam overlay, so that's good. They also talk about the components of the Steam machine and what parts are upgradable. So the SSD, the memory, is upgradable, and then the RAM is upgradable. And they said both are accessible and upgradable. So that's good there. So that can give you a little bit of extra storage space, a little bit extra RAM on the machine here. So that can go a long way as well. They said there's more to come. So ultimately, what we got here is bittersweet. I like that they're talking about it. I like that we're hearing that, hey, most games can play 4K 60. Would love a game list, but maybe they just want to get ahead of like, hey, we know we said early 2026 and we have nothing for you. Here's what's going on. And they wanted to give us some other additional information on top of that. But right now, the price is really anyone's guess. There's this great article here from Video Game Chronicle, which says that the Steam machine could cost around $700. This was made on November 29th, 2025, and it talks about a Linus Tech Tips video here. And they say, in the new video, Linus Tech Tips has taken on the challenge of building a PC with components similar to Valve's device. And they say the channel estimates that if it were to build the Steam machine with the lowest historical prices, it could cost Valve around $602 to manufacture the device. However, in today's market, with inflated component prices, it could cost as much as $910 at retailing or $813 with lesser brands being used here. Taking into account retailer profit margins, which Valve would not have to consider with its direct-to-consumer model, and the fact that it would be able to source some components cheaper, like power supplies, motherboards, and cases, Linus estimates that the Steam machine will retail for around $700. This is the price that I fight with a lot because it's not an awful price. I think when I saw all of this, right? The Steam machine, the Steam Deck, the controller, the trifecta of announcements. We started to hear the rumors of Half-Life 3. It's real and it's going to be a launch game. This is still going to be tremendously exciting. I can't wait. But there was a level of like, when I saw the prices going up and up, where people were like 800, 900, maybe even 1,000 for that like higher memory model. When we started to see more of that, and it became very apparent Valve wasn't trying to compete in the way that we initially thought they were, it did take the wind ever so slightly out of my sails, because again, I look at Xbox pulling out, and a lot of Xbox refugees are looking for a new home, and like Steam is the perfect home for them. And I feel like Steam's got the IP, they got the storefront, like they have the perfect ecosystem to grow. But maybe we've seen so many companies out there getting too big isn't really the best thing in the world here. So there's also that counterpoint. But the price, I think, again, is anyone's guess. If you ask me, I'm still going 700, 800 for the two models. Like the lower model, 700, the bigger model that has more memory, 800, 850. If it go, I think even that's too rich for people's blood, but I think Valve is in a really tight spot here, kind of like Nintendo. But the difference between a Valve and a Nintendo is like Nintendo needs to eat that cost a little bit more, because Nintendo sells a lot of software. We just saw the software sales for Nintendo. They sell a lot of software, so they just need to make sure you get that hardware in your hands, because they know you're going to buy a lot of games there. Steam, maybe a little bit of a similar situation. The Steam storefront is very popular. More people are buying games there than ever. But that was already happening because everyone's got a computer. So, does Valve see a lot of incentive in making sure we're also in your living room and you're buying games there? Again, I think a lot more will be revealed on their intentions with this device as we get that price point. But I'm still going 700, 800. And I think they're going to take maximum time. I think this will be like June, if they actually stick to their first half. It depends on really what exactly they're waiting for here. Are they waiting for like some type of crack to be shown where they can get the price down a little bit more? Do they need to even worry about fighting the price down when this is for their fans and not to like take up a ton of real estate in your living room? A lot of questions. We'll see. All right, y'all. How are we feeling about the Steam machine? Aaron says Xbox is pointless now and I own an Xbox. I do too. It doesn't get much use nowadays. It's a shame. Let's see here. Pushing Polygon. Great to see you, man. Did you see the former Morrowind dev video I sent you? Being that it is recent, I didn't know if it would affect your approach to the former Bethesda dev interview that you had. I did not. Did you send? Oh, you know what? I bookmarked your tweet. I have not looked at it yet, but I do remember you sending this to me. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to check it out later today. And thank you for doing a membership gift. Love supporting the streams. Thank you, guys. Arcane Realm, another familiar name. Love seeing the mainstays here. Love that we got a little home base here. Big Van Matty, happy Friday. And you're my primary YouTube inspiration for a channel. Just got a work promotion, so I want to spread the love. Wow, you're an awesome person for that. That's really nice. Take yourself out and your significant other or your friends, whoever, take them out, celebrate that way. But thank you for letting me be part of that fun. And congratulations, man. Glad to have you here. Little work promo. Good feeling, man. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Prudent. Like, I'm personally buying the Steam machine no matter what. You know, I think I'm trying to separate the two Maddies. There's Maddie who does this for a living, and then there's Maddie, the enthusiast, right? The enthusiast in me wants this device because I play on computers more than ever, and I love the idea of just like, I sound like an old person. I play on computers more than ever. I play on my PC more than ever. And so basically having a device that keeps that ecosystem, but I can play my PC games in a different room would be huge for me. But also, like, as a content creator, like seeing the industry kind of change so much, I love that Valve had the opportunity to be like this sort of wind of change. Like, they could stabilize how things once were, like in that they would do like exclusives and that sort of stuff. Like, I just don't agree with Xbox's current route, and I feel like they're trying to change the industry because they failed, and some are following suit. I feel like Valve could be the sign of like, no, we're going to do things the old-fashioned way. Someone's going to step in and do that. I think it'll be Apple. Apple loves their exclusivity. We just got a new member here. Snowy Deer. Thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you guys supporting the stream. Love seeing more little Maddie icons next to your names. I'm starting to see that pop up more in like the comment section and stuff. It's really cool. You know, that sense of community. I love that. So thank you guys for supporting the streams. For those who gift and whatnot as well. Really nice of you. No, I know. Okay. So when I said computer and I sounded like an old head, I know PC is personal computer. But you know who I think of, with all due respect, is oh my God, what's the actor's name here? The Daredevil actor. Daredevil actor, or is spacing on his name. Charlie Cox. Yeah, like he called them computer games. And that's like something like an old head who has never touched a controller says. So when I said I play on my computer, I play my computer a lot. I'm like, no, you don't play your computer. You play on your PC. What's our next story here? I'm looking at my story order here. Oh, this next one. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. I say oh boy more so not because of me, but because of other people. You know, just how the reactions kind of been online. Little predictable. Just a reminder for those of you who are here on stream, if you didn't see, we announced Maddie Slop earlier this stream, where you can go here and you can get all the highlights from our streams. It'll be linked down below. So get subbed up. Join up what we're doing there. Again, linked in the description. Please join Maddie Slop. Appreciate you guys. By the way, I won't be making this like a regular stream promotion thing. This is just going to be like it's already embedded in. But I just want to make sure those who are kind of swooping in, who missed it, got subscribed. Because now, hey, look, I see the 700 of you. All right. Technically, math-wise, we could easily hit 500 right now. I'm just saying. This is me being an annoying YouTuber. Technically, right now, because I know when you click on that tab, it doesn't take you out of the stream. It creates a new tab. Technically, if half of you took 2 seconds to click and subscribe, technically, we could hit 500 in a few minutes. Now, I know the internet. It doesn't work that way. But, man, you could prove me wrong. Link down below. All right. In all seriousness, let me get the next story prepared here. We're going to be talking about Horizon next, y'all. Woo-wee. A lot going on here. A lot to this story. Actually, not too many links for this one. Yeah, this is more like, I guess, a conversation. It's more traditional Maddie. See, look how quickly I changed. We were at 219. A lot of you out there are very nice. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. Thank you. In all seriousness, I appreciate it, guys. Maddie slop is greater than micro slop. Thank you. Thank you. I try, you know. I try to beat out Satya Nadella when I can. Appreciate you, little Timmy. Very nice of you to be subbed for a minute. Just 1 minute? Really? Okay. Got a lot of notes for this one as well. Let's all right, let's talk some Horizon, guys. Get my notes up here, and then all right, let's do this. Okay, so Guerrilla Games has announced their next video game. It's been in the rumor mill for a long while, and to no one's surprise at all, it's a Horizon game, because if you didn't think we had enough Horizon games, like 2 mainline games, a VR game, a Lego game, an MMO, you got one more. This time, it's a co-op action game. It's called Horizon Hunter's Gathering here. And let's bring up some of the gameplay here. It is different looking from what you would normally get from someone like Guerrilla Games here, if you could switch to the gameplay. Yeah, much more stylized, right? The last few Horizon games have been higher fidelity, and a lot of people have looked at this art style and thought, Fortnite. Now, I don't fully agree with this. I'll get into that. I have problems more with the character design. We'll talk about that. But like I said, this is a co-op action video game, and you'll see here that you're still fighting the big monsters that you would find, the big robots that you would find in a Horizon video game, but you're doing so with a friend, which is what was rumored for a long while. I think when people heard that, what they were expecting was actually, funny enough, what we got announced by the Guild Wars team, which is this here, Horizon Steel Frontiers. When I thought Horizon MMO experience, I thought we were going to get something like this here. And you'll see as they get into combat, this is what I thought the Guerrilla game was going to be like. It almost feels like they flipped from what people's expectations were here. Like, you can see, like, you're grappling onto the thing, you're targeting weak spots, very Monster Hunter-esque, but also MMO-like. Everyone getting on their mounts that are fading into the screen here. I mean, this looks kind of fun. I'm not going to lie. Like, look at that. Aerial shot, pull yourself in, flip attack. Pretty sick, right? This is kind of what I was personally expecting when I heard about Horizon Hunter's Gathering. But what we got here is this instead. This is the Guerrilla game here. And I think when people see this kind of level of vibrancy, it's immediately like their hackles get up. Their gamer hackles is what I call it. They get up and they're like, okay, this is the fail guard again. You know, that's what they immediately think, right? So what is this game? I'm going to let the trailer run from the very beginning here, the cinematic trailer, and we're going to go over some details on what exactly this game is, because there's a lot that's going on here, all right? So first and foremost, this can be played in co-op or with NPCs. So it's not like just purely online, which is interesting. They're adding new adventures to the game over time. This is right away where, like, PlayStation fans, yeah, like, your hair gets up on end in the right way, I think. Immediately I think of Concord. I'm like, did you guys not learn your lesson? Like, oh, we're doing another story progressing over time here. That worries me slightly. It's based upon Horizon Combat, which we saw. They had to clarify. See, this is something that I found really interesting. They had to clarify that this game was canon. To me, that already says we've got a problem here. Not the game itself, but this already tells me that they were expecting a pretty rough reception, that the stewards of the Horizon franchise knew this looked different enough that they had to clarify it was canon. So that aside, they made sure you knew it was canon. What else is going on in this game here? They talk about 3 playable characters coming to the playtest. We don't know the full roster quite yet here, so I'll be interested to learn how many there are, because you could have a high guard situation where you're thinking like, oh, they're going to have like dozens of champs right away, and it was 8. I think that was a problem here. Interestingly, this game reminds me a lot of what actually Night Rain did. That's because if we jump over here to the mission segment here, they actually show what's called Machine Incursion. And Machine Incursion is exactly what Night Rain is. You will literally see in parts of this gameplay here, a ring is closing in right there, and there's icons and objectives to hit on your map, enemies to fight along the way, and you're going to get gear as you go to the middle of wherever this big machine is that's assaulting the tribes. That is the mode here. It is literally Elden Ring Night Rain. So if you thought Night Rain was fun, at least the concept of the game, this is building on top of that. We'll talk about this second mode in a moment here. But that is what's happening here. They said they're going to have 4 large environments at launch, so we're already hearing small numbers. So that combined with like progressively adding more characters, more stories, I anticipate this, just like something such as Marathon or Concord, will probably like be a priced game. Like, I don't think, a lot of people are wondering, is this going to be free to play or not? I think this is going to be a game you have to pay for. I think there's a lot here that people might actually want to pay for. Before we get into character, art, and story discussion, don't worry. They actually talk a little bit about progression in this game and sort of like what happens after you finish a mission. Like they show here, there's like a whole on hub that you can go back to with your friends. You can upgrade your gear. Again, very Monster Hunter-esque. On top of that as well, this is the hub right here. On top of that, they discussed a roguelike build system. So as you're running around, you'll like get new upgrades. Again, very Elden Ring Night Rain-esque. There are perks, weapon upgrades here. So it kind of, to me, feels like a hybrid between Monster Hunter and what Elden Ring Night Rain was doing. And honestly, even that menu there kind of remind me a little bit of Stoic Studios' latest game, Towerfall, or Towerborn. There we go. A lot of tower games out there. Right now, though, we don't have a release date. But what we do know, based on this here PlayStation blog post, is that this is actually a day-and-date game on PC and PS5. And I thought that was an interesting change here, because the way they introduce is like, this is Guerrilla's next big game. And I know it's multiplayer, so it makes sense. But the fact that we're at this point now with PlayStation games is an interesting step forward here, because PlayStation really benefits from the exclusive ecosystem, but a lot of developers are going the opposite direction here. So they're starting to make more of an exception for PC. And keep in mind that there is a company that exists called PlayStation Studios Publishing LLC. So when something like that exists, I think PlayStation is planning to publish on other platforms. So effectively, in my notes here, that's what we got here for Horizon Hunters Gathering. You can customize that hub space I showed earlier here. And you got missions. You've got basically Elden Ring Night Rain. The other mode they actually have here, I forgot to show that one, is Cauldron's Descent here. This is Cauldron's Descent. And what they describe this as is chambers that you go through and you fight different enemies. So it's combat challenges and it's platforming challenges. You'll see like here, they're jumping away out of danger. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know there's a lot of anger around this game. I am not a massive Guerrilla Games fan. Like outside of like the big prominent first party PlayStation studios, this is probably the team I care about the least. I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't like it so much that I wanted a sequel. Like, I was just like, oh, this is cool and different. So I haven't played the sequel yet. So I think that this is a series that's like just prone to some damage already, because there's just been so many Horizon games, and I just don't think it's got that aura. I've also seen some strong reactions online because it's a multiplayer game, but I think a lot of people forget this is like the Killzone developer. Killzone multiplayer. I don't think this is totally out of their DNA. So my 2 cents really is that, like, when I look at the combat segment here, I don't think this looks awful. It's just not really what I want from this team. You know, if this was a spin-off from a separate team, this would interest me a lot more. But do I want a team as great as Guerrilla Games spending their time on something like this? At least at face value, no. A lot of those thoughts, though, also get a little bit into the art style. when you look at like a screenshot like this, a lot of people see all these colors and they go, oh, it's Fortnite, right? That was immediately what I started to read a lot of online. But if you pay really close attention to sort of the stylization, you'll see, like, especially in motion, to me at least, it's a lot more Arcane-like. And I think there's a difference there. That said, it's the vibrancy and things like I call it the MCU smirk. There was a point in the cinematic trailer here where there is this MCU smirk. And I think that sort of stuff just tips people off. They're like tired of, hold on, here it comes. Yeah. Just like, I got you, pal. I got you. I think people are tired of things like this. This feels late. You know, it's been long said for years now. The MCU was like one of the greatest things to have happened because it was so fun to track. But once Endgame was over, we got tired of other people piggybacking off of that real quick. And so I think that kind of quirkiness combined with the colors sets people off in a particular way. What I really want to open up the conversation on with this art style is that to me, the actual, again, styling is fine, but I do look at the characters and I think to myself, like, you know, I don't know if these are characters that you really want to play as or that evoke what Horizon really is. I mean, this is like very anime to me, which is fine, but it doesn't feel like who the hell is this? Like the exaggerated proportions and whatnot. That to me just is like, we wanted to make a different game, but we had to put it in the Horizon universe, right? Like this is actually a Horizon character and he looks like it, right? So basically to me, what it really comes down to is when you start to look at characters within Horizon Forbidden West, like I can click on in this wiki here, any random character. Boomer. Okay, let's see. Normal person. Low cuff. Okay, let's see here. Human. None of these characters have like exaggerated proportions, highlighter hair colors, that sort of stuff, which again, I'm a huge anime fan, so I don't give a shit about like crazy hair colors and whatnot. But when you start to really look at, I'm just going to keep clicking randomly. When you start to look at them here, like face paint, tribalism is what defines the more eccentric, get out of here, the more eccentric characters in Horizon. And when I look at that versus the styling of what we get here with some of these characters, that's actually a character from Horizon, they just seem out of place a little bit to me. And that's kind of what I hone in on, is character design is sort of, in my opinion, as a fan, I'm not an artist, but as a fan, I feel is becoming a little bit of a lost art. I don't think it always has to come down to the joke I always say of like, people just want cool dudes and girls doing cool things. I think that sort of simplism is what we had in the early 2000s, the late 90s, and we got to evolve from that. But now we're kind of stuck in this rut here where we have character design philosophies that I think are betraying the core of the series. Again, you look at like a character like, let's see, right here, you look at someone like this, and then you look at like any of the characters that I have brought up here, and my God, they just keep hitting me with the ad blocker thing because I'm on fucking Opera. You keep looking though, and you see how there's a dramatic difference between, I think, these characters. Again, it's not really even the hair color, but it's like the proportions, how exaggerated they are. Like even when this character is like sliding around, like he's got like one piece leg length, like that's kind of, to me, part of the problem here. And so I think ultimately Horizon Hunter Gathering does not look terrible. Like again, and like if we're using a gauge here of games we've previously experienced, to me, Concord Veilguard is kind of like the bottom of the spectrum. Like this is the worst that you can get in the terms of like what you see versus what you know. And then I don't know what we put at the highest part of the spectrum, just like I think a natural video game that feels organic to what it's supposed to be. And somewhere lower on that totem pole is something that we just saw recently with Highguard, where I looked at it and went, okay, kind of like uninspired. Like it's just another hero shooter. Fine. I would put Horizon Hunter Gathering above those, especially when I look at the gameplay here. I don't look at this gameplay and go, it's slop. This looks awful. It just doesn't look to me like exactly what I want out of this team. But I don't look at this and say, it's terrible. I look at the character and say, that feels different, out of place. I don't look at the art style and think Fortnite. I look at it and think Arcane, but I don't really think of that when I think of like what Horizon is as a series here. I think the gameplay could stand up and surprise some people just because, again, it is very cooperative, very interactive, and I think that could be fun. But given that this is no doubt going to be a premium game, it's probably coming out in 2027. There's going to be play tests. Maybe it can earn people back over time. The question also is, does Horizon have that draw. When you look here, we can see that this was trending. A lot of people were looking into it. For some reason, my dislikes are not installed on Opera, but this was like 16 to 40 something K. It's not a good ratio. The bravest thing this trailer did was leave the comment section open. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson? Gorilla, please blink twice if you're in danger. Have I told you the definition of insanity? How many millions lost will it take to learn the lesson? Horizon Forbidden Wallet, Horizon Zero players. I thought Concord got canceled. Bro, they did live service purple enemies and sky beams. Yeah, that's the other thing is like when I look at this game here, I actually forgot to throw this in here. This reminds me in particular, this segment here where they show the missions here. This reminds me so much of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So much. In fact, when we start to see games look like this so often, I really start to believe there's like a gaming group that just gets together. They share ideas like once a year. And that's why we get all these games suddenly coming out at the same time that all look and feel the same. It's like, this is the direction, like the gaming Illuminati is going to take the whole industry in this direction. That's literally that shot right there. Hang on. That shot right there. I swear to God, that's like Brainiac from Suicide Squad. So I get where people are coming from. Again, I don't look at the gameplay itself and think it's bad, but I look at this and say, yeah, I've seen this before. So it falls in that kind of high guard camp, a little bit above it, but like where I think it could have been more fun than high guard, but it falls in that camp of like familiarity. And again, if you factor in on top of that, I am not a Horizon fan. I never thought this series had the clout to give us things like a Lego game, VR, 2 mainline games, an MMO, by the way. And then this, I just don't think it's got that pull. And so I think that's also, and I'm like, really? You guys like part of it's the frustration with you really think this is like that dude. So that's Horizon Hunters Gathering and my thoughts on it. Again, I don't think it looks god awful. But it just looks like I feel like these games are making it easier for someone like me who's open-minded and tries to be optimistic to just go like, yeah, that's an easy skip. Like, I got to listen to my heart at some point and be like, yeah, I don't really know if I need to play that. Like, that's not something I need to play. I think about when we first had Horizon Zero Dawn revealed to us here. Like, let's go back to that. The good old days of E3, 2015. I'll always remember them introducing this. And when they showed it to us, it was that moment of like, what is that, man? Because they started to show like a character running through snow, and we saw, look at the quality of this video too, man. Like, we've come a long way with online videos. But like when we see this girl crawling in the grass and we see actual robot dinosaurs reacting to you and investigating, there was such a level of like curiosity. You know, like what is going on here? What is this? That's what I expected from Guerrilla Games. When they come at me with a stylized live service game, that's not what I'm looking for from a team that brought me something as great as Killzone and some type of reveal like this that captured my mind. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not a straight hater of the game. At least I'm trying to provide the nuance to show I'm not. But I do look at like this moment. This is one of the best reveals, in my opinion, from PlayStation at E3. I'll always remember seeing this for the first time and just be like, oh my God. Like, what is this mixture of futurism, but also like tribalism, like bow and arrow, but also robot dinosaurs? It was so crazy, so different. And it feels like that creativity is being misplaced when they're going on to make a live service multiplayer game. And we're seeing them target like weaknesses and getting parts from it. That's awesome. Just such a great reveal here. So I think that's where a lot of people's heads go to as well. It's not even just like, oh, Horizon isn't that dude, but also like what Guerrilla is capable of. So yeah, Horizon Hunters Gathering, it's fine. I'm probably not going to play it unless I hear otherwise that like, you got to go check this one out. I'm curious what the chat's thinking though. Studios trying to make money and ruin the IP. That could be a factor. Like, PlayStation wants money. That much is for certain. They want big money. I wouldn't say time gone up that they lost passion. I don't think they lost passion, but the industry's like in this weird place where things are taking longer to make, and it just seems like starting from the ground up is just so difficult for these teams that it's better to keep like repurposing and repurposing. Everything has to be a franchise because it can only go quick that way. So I also think Horizon got a little bit of that, like, I call it the Herman Hulse buff. That's my joke name for it. I definitely think like he gave them a little bit of a curve. Just a little bit. Assassin 8K, good to see you again, my friend. Maddie, what can Rockstar do for you to love GTA 6? Ship the game. I know I'll love it. I know it's a boring answer, but just fucking release the game, man. But Assassin, good to see you, man. Appreciate you super chatting. Just give me GTA 6 already. I'm ready for it. That's the other thing, Jesse. Yeah, easy money. I think a lot of these companies are becoming risk averse because you can have cratering losses and just like that grip on the industry you have can slip so fast. So I think maybe you just do these quick flips and hope things pan out. You know, I think also some of these projects may have been canceled, but maybe not Horizon, but I'm saying like some of these live service games may have been canceled, but if 15 of them fail, but one hits, they'll make all the money back on the 15 that failed. It's like right now, because like that one live service turns into such a money printing machine that I think it's hard for these companies to walk away from it. A new slide would be nice, yeah. I think there's also a disconnect between developers right now and their fans in some teams, not all. But like fans are kind of speaking about like this is what we want. Like and I feel like a lot of these companies are galaxy braining like someone wrote like I just want a new Sly. And I know Sly isn't from Gorilla, but like I look at how some of these companies are like, well, what could we do to truly make this great? I'm like, just make another fucking Sly, guys. Just make another Sly Cooper. The rest will come. I know game development isn't that easy, but like getting it started, selling the vision, it's like, here's the story. We have the Sly Cooper gameplay DNA. Like, it's all right there. Like, just let it ride. Let it rock, you know? But maybe that's tough in these corporate environments. Maybe it is tough in these corporate environments. I own Caves of Cud, Drudwin. I have not played much of it, though, but the game looks awesome. I bought it on sale. Your MCU smirk is a reaction meme. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. I don't know where it is, but I'll take it. I'm assuming the LSM server. Let me get our next story up here. I saw someone say that a Sly live service would be goated because you could just go and get a new heist to do every few months. Let's not even dream about that. I don't want to dream about a Sly Cooper live service game, man. Like I really, I'm good. I'm good. Just give me another Sly Cooper game. Period. You know, that's what I want. Like a nice single player adventure. Please and thank you. I'm adding the Maddie Slop channel to our Mr. Maddie channel so that everything is there. My dog is freaking out today. He's barking at everything today, dude. You guys hear that? My God. He's such a loudmouth. Rufus, will you stop? He's like, no, actually, I'm not going to. Perhaps streaming when my wife was not home was a terrible idea. That's my current thoughts right now. That dog is woofing up a fucking... Yeah, I call him Woofus all the time, bro. He woofs all the time. And what's so funny is he's upstairs in our guest room, and he is just yapping by himself. He's part Chihuahua, so it's not surprising. But he will just be up there just... And I'll go upstairs and look at him, and he's just like on the bed, just like looking at me. I'm like, dude, what? We have neighbors that have like loud ass dogs, and so that I think they're the reason he barks a lot. But man, oh man, alive. Dogs are a big blessing, but there's sometimes it's like, Rufus, you drive me up a wall, dog. Here we go. Okay. Got the Maddie channel updated, so Maddie Slop is on the homepage. Or it will be, whenever it publishes. I don't know why it's not doing it. Whatever. This is what I get for trying to be proactive. Oblivion NPC type of dog. Let me check on him real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Hold on. Rufus, what's going on, bud? You guys wouldn't. It's so funny how predictable it was. I literally go upstairs and dog's up on the bed, paws crossed, ears back, tail wagging. He's like, gotcha. I know for a fact my dog just hoodwinked me. He's like, got you to come upstairs, you fool. Crazy dog. Let me get our next story up here. Oh, we're actually running out of topics. Whoa. Let's do this one here. This is an interesting Fallout conversation. Actually, do I want to do this yet? When are we going offline? Let's see here. It's 5:15. Let me save this one for our next one because I don't want to, because the one we're doing now, I was about to do is like season 2 related. It was like spoiler related. I don't want to do that quite yet. I don't want to drive any more of you out of here. I forgot you gotta be subscribed to The Verge. I was like, oh, I could cover this. Let's see here. Okay. This will be more of a conversation, but I think it would be I think it would still be a good one to do here. Today's juice, Goosevelli, is a mixture of cherry, pomegranate, carrot, and orange, all in one. It's really good. I'm going to do this all the time. It's really good. Jesse, I have seen the Mouse PI for game that's coming out next month. It looks really good. I'm excited for that one. All right. Let's keep things rolling here, guys. Let's keep the fun times rolling. This one I don't have any notes for, so it's kind of off the cuff. But you get to see how Maddie works off the cuff, for better or for worse. I'll probably trip up on my words. So I speak too fast for my own good. It's my biggest fault as a creator. I like the amount of times I'll like do recordings for my videos and like flub because I'm just like my tongue. I call it my tongue gets fat because I keep talking and talking and talking. I'm like, blah, 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 and I just drag my words. But it's like so important for me to maintain that original pure thought, because the second you lose it, you just feel, I'm sure people who have like recorded stuff in the past know what I'm talking about. You just feel this moment of like, oh, there goes that thought. Like there it goes. Like I can't recapture that rhythm. I got to start from the beginning, and no one talks like this. Like that's the least natural part of recording videos. Okay. Let's get into you guys. Let's talk a little bit about Xbox's upcoming schedule here. This comes from The Verge, who, as you can see here, has a daily newsletter, and they're like, hey, you want to keep reading? Give us money. So we're going to Pure Xbox for this one because they have a pretty brief summary of what's going on here. These are the Xbox release windows for a ton of games. Now, if you've been watching Xbox this year, you know that they have a lot on the way. It is the year of the Four Horsemen. So you've got your Halo, your Gears, your Forza, and they consider Fable now one of the Four Horsemen, which I thought was really interesting because I always loved Fable. It was one of my horsemen, but I didn't know Xbox thought of it that way. But after seeing the Fable reveal, it makes a lot more sense because that game's making some noise, some really good noise, which is awesome to see that Xbox finally might have like a bona fide win on their hands without like any strings attached. But that game does obviously have to deliver. But that's just a piece of the pie. Remember, Xbox owns Bethesda. They own Activision. So on top of these 4 games, which is more than enough for a calendar year, you've also got like a Call of Duty. You've also got whatever Bethesda is getting up to here. And then we even saw at the recent Developer Direct, like here comes Double Fine shoving a game out. So when are these all dropping is a really important part of the conversation, because one thing that Craig Duncan, the head of Xbox Game Studios, talked about is all of these games need a release window. And that gets even more difficult when the holiday period is going to be gobbled up by GTA 6, which is coming out this November. And it seems like, based on what Take-Two's saying, they're doubling down. They said marketing plans are coming into fruition this summer. Get ready. Like, here it comes. They're going to start taking your pre-order money. So it feels like we can lock that in. And obviously, if you're Halo, which has an anniversary this year, right next to where GTA would be launching, you got to respond to that if you're Xbox. So we have the report from The Verge. Now we're on Pure Xbox here, and this is what they write. The Verge's Tom Warren has shed some more light on this today in a new report, pointing there's a big effort internally for Microsoft to release a new Forza, Fable, Gears, and Halo game in 2026. Warren says that Halo Combat Evolved is going to be aiming to launch in summer 2026 as things stand, while Gears of War E-Day is scheduled for some point in the second half of the year. Xbox keen to avoid being too close to GTA 6. The quote is, I understand Microsoft has a good idea of when both should launch, but is also keen to avoid being too close to GTA 6 on November 19th. So yeah, this is the date everyone's dancing around. I'm really curious when the dust settles, what the window of time will be where nothing else is happening except GTA 6. Like, will we actually have a point in a holiday calendar where it's literally just GTA 6 for like a 2-week stretch? No one else wants to be in that kind of that blast zone, basically. That said, though, Halo is the most interesting one here. Halo Campaign Evolved comes out, originally we were thinking end of this year because that's the anniversary of Xbox 25 years. It launches with Halo Combat Evolved. You're going to do that again on November 15th, right? Wrong. Halo Campaign Evolved is coming out. I hate the name Campaign Evolved, so I apologize if I trip up on that word. But that's coming out summer 2026. I'm a little iffy on this one, all right? This gets beyond any concerns people had about like sprinting, lore, new campaign missions, that sort of stuff. It's really because of my co-host, Lord Cognito. When I saw this game, right, I was thinking to myself like, okay, in some ways this is uglier than the original, but that's kind of me being a little pretentious. But when he started to talk about performance concerns, frame rate was really bad. It didn't control well. There was like latency input delay. I when I started to hear those things, I'm like, oh boy. And again, this was a project that, as we've read before, Halo Studios has had issues with this, which the sky is blue, grass is green. Like, I'm not surprised by any of this, unfortunately, but it doesn't seem like a game that's really, from what we've heard with previews, ready for summer. It feels like a game that instead is being put there because it's the only window where it could breathe. And I hope I'm wrong. I want this game to be great. For those who don't know, Halo 1 is like my favorite. I love Halo 3. That's like right there next to it. But Halo 1, the amount of times I've replayed it, so many memories. You will hear me wax poetic about that game numerous times this year, and hopefully for good reason. What I want with this remake is with these new prequel missions they're adding and the new bells and whistles they're adding is for me to be like, and that's why that game is my go. And they added to it. They made it better. That's what I'm hoping for. But when I hear that they're launching this soon, I already worry about the optimization, the frame rate, that sort of stuff. So we'll see there. Gears of War E-Day being in the second half of this year is also interesting because we now know that Fable's taking up an autumn slot. That can go anywhere from September to November. We now know Xbox is keen on avoiding GTA 6. Fable looked like it was in kind of rough shape already because of its frame rate. So would October be that game's month? Is Gears a December game? If it's in the second half of the year, is it a July game? Like, does it fall in September? I don't know. It could fall in any of these months. But what Xbox is going to have with all of these games coming out is if they're trying to take 1 month out of the year, they're going to shotgun blast one way or another. This is something I have talked about so much with them, is that they need to get better at giving their games time to breathe. Because last year we saw it. You had your Ninja Gaiden 4, your Outer Worlds 2. On top of that, you had Keeper get buried. And then there was the ROG Ally. This was all in like a 2-week span, something like that. It's way too much. So already their release schedule is like really interesting on a content level, but I just hope these games get time to breathe because a lot of them have potential. Like a Halo campaign remake has a lot of potential. Gears coming back in this way, bro, like Dom and Marcus again, that's huge. I hope they make that a big deal. It makes me wonder if that's going to be the developer direct game for this year for the summer showcase. So that's just 2 games on their calendar. You could have a whole conversation about that, which we just did, but there's more here. They said beyond the big 4, it's believed that Double Fine's Kiln will be releasing April 2026, and new Starfield content will also arrive during that month. We first heard about planned improvements for Starfield back in December, and then earlier today it was suggested that a PS5 release could happen in April as well. Obviously, as I've mentioned before, I've seen the Starfield update early. I've not been told when it was coming or anything like that, so I'm just going to stir right around that one. Just get out of the way here because I don't want to say anything wrong or people think I'm like going to drop information on it. But we're seeing that new Starfield content is going to be on the way in a couple of months here, which this feels long overdue. I do think like before I even saw anything, I did think this would be here way sooner. The fact that Bethesda's taking a lot of time here is definitely going to build the expectations and hopefully they deliver for a lot of people here. As for Kiln from Double Fine, that finds itself in April. I think this is a nice little pocket for them right here, April 26th. You know, it's going to be it's a less busier month. Sorry. May is a little busier with big games, and then March is really busy. So this finds itself in a nice little pocket. I think that works. I have no real hype for Kiln personally, but I think it looks like a cute little game here. As a Fusion Frenzy fan, that was like the only thing I thought of when looking at it. Like, oh, I remember the days of like Xbox party games. But hopefully it kind of takes over and gets a lot of people interested. Now, the big one here. The main reason I wanted to talk about this. Finally, the other potential major release that Warren mentions for 2026 is Fallout 3 Remastered. But although he mentions it's in active development, he doesn't commit to a 2026 launch, mentioning that, quote, Bethesda is keen to ensure it's as well polished as the surprise release of Oblivion Remastered last year. Okay, take a breath here because that's a wild statement. They're keen to make sure it releases as polished as Oblivion Remastered. Okay. I have really mixed feelings on that game. Oblivion Remaster is like one of the best remasters I've played because of the way we know the obvious stuff. It overhauls the visuals. It overhauls the combat animations. To me, that's like, hell yeah. It's more than I could have dreamt of because it still has like the physics and the jank and the bugs. But then because of like UE5 and these new visual bells and whistles, it introduces new problems to the game. Not really in its content, like will this quest work, but new problems like this doesn't run well. This doesn't look right. This is stuttering constantly. This doesn't feel good to play. And I try not to get too wrapped up in that because ultimately it's the experience. I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the ride. And I can get over that in a lot of ways. My problem is that they dropped the support for Oblivion Remaster like that. They dropped the game and then went, see ya. And like, I know they technically had a patch, but I really didn't think after that June patch they dropped that would be it. That would be the polished Oblivion Remaster. They had so much more work to do. So I do look at this thing to myself, okay, what's happening here? If it's in active development and they want to keep it as polished for a surprise release, basically is what I think they're going to do. I imagine they dropped Oblivion so quickly because they needed to get to Fallout 3, because the demand for Fallout 3 is really high. If that Amazon countdown taught Bethesda anything, it's, my God, do people really, 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 really want Fallout remasters. And I think when Fallout 3 comes around and it gets remastered, oh my God, it's going to be inescapable. It's going to be one of the best-selling games of the year. And finally, I can watch Fallout 3 enjoy its own window without having to hear about fucking New Vegas for the millionth time. I'm sorry, but just, I don't know why no one lives in this world where, like, both games are really great. It's always one or the other. It's a big old dick measuring contest between these two here. But because they dropped Oblivion so fast, I imagine it's to accelerate Fallout 3. Another added incentive to push Fallout 3 out the door is the TV show. Not just because, TV show's running, but let's just say the Enclave is heavily involved. There's going to be a lot of people wondering who the Enclave are. And I think it's a plot element that is not explained super well in the TV show if you haven't played the games. So Fallout 3, funny enough, its main bad guy is the Enclave. So while a lot of people thought it would be perfect to shadow drop something for, New Vegas with the second season, it seems like, I'll just say, that's not the only time we're seeing the strip. So there might be another great time for a New Vegas remaster, at least if next season is anything to go by. And with the Enclave more involved, the timing actually may be a little bit better than we thought for a Fallout 3 remaster. So I'm a little optimistic about that. But when they talk about polish, it's like they didn't fix any legacy bugs. So the polish they're talking about is the additive work, which wasn't really fine-tuned afterwards. And if they're going to do what they did with Oblivion Remaster with Fallout 3, that's going to hurt my hype a little bit. So it's a little bit concerning in that regard. But what you have here is the potential for, I think, a Fallout 3 remastered reveal this year. Fallout Day is on October 23rd. That's a great place to reveal it. You have the Xbox Showcase, could be a great place to pull the trigger. But also, Oblivion Remaster keeps us on our toes. Why not shadow drop it? Why not? What they could do with that could be also a lot of fun. And I'd love for Fallout fans to enjoy a fun shadow drop or an ARG leading into a shadow drop. Because at least the countdown timer on Amazon's website taught us a little bit of that. People started to immediately look into it, which I said to Bethesda so many times, I'm like, guys, do ARGs. Fallout's like built for it. So yeah, ultimately, that's what we got here for Xbox. A very jam-packed year. And that's not even accounting for like third-party partnerships, day one Game Pass games, which are always more alluring for Xbox fans. It's going to be a fun year. Like, outside of Halo, I think most of these games from Xbox are going to be really fun to talk about. I think Gears is going to be fun to talk about. I think, of course, Forza Horizon 6 is going to deliver hand over fist. And I think Fable, Fable, Gears, like those are going to be just two really fun games to go over. Halo is really the question mark for me. Anything beyond that is purely additive and delivers on an already pretty impressive year. You're talking Starfield updates. You're talking Kiln. There's a lot going on here. So Xbox is set to have a really crazy 2026. And I think they might even pull the trigger on like hardware reveals this year, just because I could see it like ending the summer showcase. And then the following summer showcase, like June 2027, do a developer direct dedicated to hardware and really solidify your commitment to that. I think that could be interesting. So that's what's going on with Xbox's release windows for 26. Very interesting report here from Tom Warren. Shout out to him, and just excited to see what Xbox puts out, man. They do a bad job on hardware, but their software, always an exciting, interesting time. Elder Scrolls 6 before 2028? I don't think so. How are we feeling, chat? How are we feeling about these release windows? Starfield, Halo, Gears, Fallout 3. Interesting times. Interesting times. Yeah, the UE5 stutter in Oblivion was like bad. It was just not good. Not good. This next story will be our last one, because again, it kind of centers around what's going on here with the season 2 finale. And so for those of you who did not watch that, of course, I wanted to make sure I put this last so that you can hang out in the stream for as long as possible. But this is interesting. This is a very interesting conversation we're going to have here. Yeah, the thing pushing polygons with UE5 is like they are updating it, and like our own team looks into UE5 all the time just to see like what's going on with like its feature set. Like Epic does a good job updating it. I think it's going to run into the same problem that UE4 did. Like I think by the time UE5 is like optimized and fixed and isn't like a big concern, they're going to be on to UE6. Because I think UE4 kind of went through a similar thing where they got it to its like final version and then just like moved on. And so that version's great. You know, we have a great time using it. But now 5 has all these problems. And so, you know, that adoption cycle, they need to, I think, have a better engine to kind of start things off next time. I appreciate the super chats, guys. Thank you for supporting. Let's see what we got here. Chaz Connor, thank you. I had an idea Barb was uploaded into one of 2 woman Securitron, which runs around the top floor of Lucky 38. The face sort of matches. I like that theory. That'd be a really fun one. That'd be a deep cut too. That'd be really fun. I like that a lot, man. Good idea. Plasma Snake, great to see you. Thanks for the content, Matt. Your videos and podcasts make my overnight maintenance shift bearable. Your enthusiasm for gaming is infectious. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that a lot. I'm sorry you got to work overnight shifts, so I'm glad I can help out in any way, shape, or form. So just appreciate you being here, guys. Like, you know, this is definitely like, if I'm really honest, it's like our slowest stream we've ever had. Like we didn't even like eclipse like 1,000 people, but I'm just really thankful for those who do show up, even for like the quote slower news days, or we're experimenting with like titling formats and whatnot. Like, okay, this one doesn't have any like things that you really know me for. Like it's mainly like when I post like Bethesda in the title or Todd Howard, like maybe more people show up. But when I don't, it's clear people aren't as interested in your boy. Gotta get that Bethesda allure in there somehow, it seems. But I just appreciate those of you who are pulling up and just supporting the streams. No matter what they're titled or what the thumbnails are, that's always been the goal. Is just like whatever the news is, let's talk about it. I appreciate you guys being here. Squid of Cheese, great to see you again, my friend. I'm excited for this year's releases. I hope it's all epic. Most excited for Fable personally, but also Starfield and such. Yes, for me it's Fable. I mean, again, I always say I'm a little bit conflicted with Fable just because I really love the franchise, and like having definitive morality was a big part of the reason why. Taking that away is a little bit of a bummer, but if it's still a fantastic RPG with great choice and consequence, I'll be the last person to complain. So I'm just hoping that they really nail it. But Squid, great to see you, man. Thank you as always for supporting, and just you always super chat too. So I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. All Unreal games start to look and feel the same. That's because like artistic direction is becoming like a little bit of a dying art, Rock Lee, in my opinion. There's a lot of beautiful games in Unreal Engine that don't even like make it around fidelity. I think of, again, I always go to Octopath Traveler. It's like a perfect example. Like that game's incredible looking. But it's made in Unreal Engine. And like, it's just how the developers use it. You know, there's obviously similar tools under the hood, similar lighting systems and whatnot, certain material systems, but you can make it your own. And I don't think a lot of developers do. Uncharted Wolf, you do not need to super chat to get a shout out. I appreciate it, but no, I try to balance it. Like, it's something I talked to my friend about. It's like, there are some streams where we get a ton of super chats, and obviously like I need to make sure like they've spent money. I got to like make sure we take care of them. But I try to, on streams like this, you know, balance out like making sure that like the chat who just wants to hang and talk, like, you know, I give my attention to that. Would you say Expedition 33 felt like a pretty strong art direction? Because I feel like that game feels unique despite being Unreal Engine 4. I agree. I know it shares a lot of problems that UE Engine games have, but like I think ultimately because of like its skies and its environments and its vibrancy, like its characters, I think it does a good job separating itself. I think there are games like that you can see the engine in. Like there used to be a time where you couldn't, at least in my opinion, but now you can. And I think it's because, again, techniques, tools under the hood, how they're utilized, and materials in particular in the environment. Like these games that run off more generic materials that don't have any sort of stylization to them, they are the ones that start to kind of bleed together a bit. Oh, we got another super chat here. Hey, Waxpin Champion, thank you. Yo, I've been sub for 11 years. It's really great to see how your channel's grown. I've been really getting into your new videos recently. Big love from Michigan. Thank you, dude. thank you for being here for so long. And yeah, I've been enjoying making the content that we've been doing lately, especially across like Retro Rebound and Mr. Matty. Like, it's been really fun to kind of experiment a little bit more and try to just let go of some of the fears I have of like doing some new things and just like go for it, revenue and viewership be damned. Let's go for it and see what happens. So just thanks for supporting, man. I appreciate that. It's people like you who make the risk worth it. Luis, I'm not going to play the Borderlands 4 expansion now. And the game kind of disappointed me in the end of it all, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. No, Jay, I mean, 650 people is a ton. Like, it's not like a like explosive amount. I've certainly had bigger streams, but like, it's good to get an idea of what your floor and your ceiling are whenever, like, for anyone who's interested in content creation, like, that's one of my biggest suggestions. Like, you can't fear failure, like, or what people would consider failure. Like, when we've streamed before, yeah, we've had like 2,000 people here when we were talking about Fallout 3 last stream. It's like, okay, like I wouldn't even say that's our ceiling. Like, our ceiling's really when we do like a live event, like, oh, let's go watch the developer direct together. We have like thousands of people here. So I know like the audience is there and willing to show up, but like certain things appeal to different people. And like, that's the point of experimentation. So if this is like our floor, like, 600 of you, 700 of you hanging out, that's totally fine with me. That's great. So I'm appreciative of anyone who turns out, especially because, again, like we're turning these into videos on the Matty Slop channel. So, there's going to be more people who check it out there. So I feel like viewership on these streams will go down by default anyway. That's a good reminder. Link down below. Matty Slop. Subscribe. Thank you to all. Let's see what number we're at now. 313. Hey, not bad. All 313 of you are subscribed there. You can join that little army there. Yeah, Doom Walker, if the State of Play got announced, I don't know if it did, I'll stream it. I was going to stream the Nintendo Direct, actually, as like a little bonus thing, but I was bringing my wife to the airport that morning. I ended up staying up all night. So we woke up at like 3 a.m. to leave and drove her there, got back, it was like 7, and I could have streamed, but I was like, I am so fried right now. Like, I just don't know if I'll be good in a social environment or communicating, that sort of thing. Oh, you meant responding to the chat with 600 people talking to you. Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine. I'm kind of used to that. I feel like I do a good job of just like ignoring the noise. Like when people are trying to like come in and troll you and just like picking out people who are like well intended or who want to interact, You were smart to skip that one. I don't know. So I'm the weirdo who, when they announced Paranormasight, as like one of the openers of the showcase, I literally fist pumped. I was like, oh, dude, I fucking love Paranormasight. I can't believe this game's getting a sequel or whatever. It's a new game in its franchise, like a new entry. So I also thought it was hilarious that they ended with Todd Howard. I thought that was the beautiful knife twist. Like, it was comical that after everything that happened with Fallout 3 Remaster, I'm sure there were enough people there who went like, oh my God, are they going to fucking do it, dude? Are they actually going to give us like the remasters here? Of course they're going to. Nope. It's just like Todd saying, thanks guys. Here's Fallout 4, Oblivion, and Indiana Jones on Switch 2. Not the games that you obviously like were really hoping would get Switch ports. Thank you, Jay. It's very nice of you to say. But I saw all these clips on Twitter when Todd appeared on stream of people like, dude, the Todd hate is real. It's kind of, I feel bad, man. I do feel bad. Like, I think Todd's a great guy and I think he's a great creator, but like he's really in over his head right now and like shit. Like, I saw clips on Twitter of people seeing Todd on stream and be like, oh, this guy, and like literally shutting it off or like Xing it out, or like there was a Maximilian dude clip of him just like immediately seeing Todd and leaning back with his eyes closed like instantly. For me, I perked up. I'm like, yo, what's my goat doing here, bro? But there's so many people that hate Todd, and I feel bad for him, man, because it's like Bethesda needs to start delivering so this guy can regain his aura, because there used to be a time where when this man hit the stage, it was like he's the quote machine. You're inspired by him. He's got to get back to that swagger. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some games, but maybe he can do it. We'll see. Speaking of Todd, actually, that's a great transition. Let's get into this next news story here. As an FYI, I hope you all are listening. You're not just have me like in another room or something and you turn up and I'm spoiling something for you. So I'm just going to make it really clear here. If you have not watched season 2 of the Fallout TV show, I'm going to spoil it because what we're talking about here today are interviews with Todd Howard and some of the showrunners as well for Fallout. And we're going to talk about the season finale, the fate of certain characters, and what exactly that means. I've been holding off on this story until the end of the stream so that if those of you who need to peace out because you're like, hey, I do want to watch that, or hey, I haven't seen it yet, or I'm busy, or I'm waiting, whatever it may be, that's all good. I just want to make sure you guys had your out so that you could peace out and go do your thing. So yeah, just a little bit of a word of warning there. I will be spoiling the finale for season 2. So if you don't know what happened, you don't want to ruin for yourself, feel free to click off because this is our final story for the stream before we get on out of here. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to jump on out of here. We got a super chat here. It's from TKD. Kind of appreciate a behind the scenes question, but have you seen a dip in video performance with the increase in streams? Appreciate you. No, I love behind the scenes questions. No, I haven't actually. Outside of I knew the Fallout season 2 review wasn't going to do super, super well because the TV show content just never did well on my channel. The way it interacted with the games always did well because like I think I don't want to generalize all of you, but I think my audience is just like hardcore gamers. Like if it's game related, that's great. And the show had its moments where it did really well, but the season 1 stuff did better for me than like season 2. A lot of creators like Juicehead did or Oxhorn did great jobs like doing breakdowns of hidden details with every episode. And that worked out well for them. Their viewership was great, but anytime I did anything involving the TV show, it's always been very small reception. And I don't know if that's like me or something like that, but that's the only thing I could really see as a dip. Otherwise, though, like the content's done really well. And the streams have been really supported where it kind of balances out the content. I do 4 videos a week on Mr. Matty, and I always plan to keep it that way. So far, so good. And in fact, I would say I was kind of surprised at like how great the videos did in January where nothing was really happening. So that was awesome to see as well, that we were kind of like making our own success is what I like to call it, where it was doing like video essays and they were doing really well. So I want to keep doing more of those, but I appreciate you asking. Behind the scenes questions are always welcome. Your disclaimer should be, if you haven't seen Fallout Season 2, go find yourself. Censorship. There you go. Rook has spoken. Yeah. Go see it, man. It's good stuff. All right. No problem on the warning, Morgan. Anyone else who doesn't want Season 2, spoil it for themselves. Peace out. I've already seen a dip in viewers, so I imagine a lot of you took that as your out. I appreciate you being here. We'll catch you next week, but let's start off with this final story here. Okay. So Fallout Season 2 airs, and it's a lot of plot threads. There's a lot that Bethesda and Kilter and Prime got to do to tighten this thing up. As I talked about in my review, I really did enjoy Season 2. I loved Season 1 way more, but Season 2 has its problems, and too many plot threads is one of them. One of the big plot threads that's introduced in the finale of Season 2, really at the end of Episode 7, but explored a little bit in Season 2, is Mr. House. So, as you know, in the end of Fallout New Vegas, one of the endings you can pick is you can kill Mr. House. You can open up that tube, and you can smack his ass with a 9-iron, and he's dead. You know, the second he's exposed, technically he's dead as well. So, given the fact that, hey, this character can die, you can't really show him in the TV show because Bethesda is already committed to the idea of we will not be picking a canon ending. So how can Mr. House exist in this TV show in this point in the timeline after the strip is destroyed if he's already dead based on some of our choices here? Like, where did the other one go? That sort of thing here. Well, Todd Howard had commented on this here. We've got this interview here from Games Radar who says, what existed before and how do you remain respectful to it? So this was the challenge with Season 2 for the team at Bethesda. And they were talking about like what New Vegas endings actually can. They say, we talk about it a lot. Even when we do games, we talk about, hey, what existed before and how do you remain respectful of it? I think what we try to do is tell a story from the perspective of the people in the world, and sometimes you're going to get conflicting accounts. I already have some mixed feelings on that response there because it's something that Elder Scrolls does where like you'll hear different things from different people. Some people love that. I don't think there is like one definitive way of thinking in a universe, but you can't have like someone as important as Mr. House is like, hey, did you hear he died? No, he actually didn't. He got his AI consciousness got uploaded thanks to cold fusion or some shit like that. Like that's where I get my back up a little bit here, right? Now, continuing on this article here, they talk a little bit more about like what happened in the season itself here. And then we end with an interesting little quote. They say, because the TV show is canon to the video game franchise, this alters things considerably, but Robertson Dwyer says she doesn't see it that way, and that they simply aim to open the question of whether they did, and also introduce the Enclave as one of the most powerful entities in this universe. And oftentimes, it's intentional that things are up for interpretation, and we have our own view of things that, this series is going to go on for a while yet, Howard adds. But I think it's a good thing to open up those conversations, and you may get history. You may get conflicting reports on how some things went. So it seems like they're teasing a little bit of like, hey, hang with us. We'll answer those questions. But to me, it also reads as a fan like we opened up this plot thread that one of the main characters behind New Vegas, like the most popular character in that entry, one of the most popular characters in all of Fallout that could die, where you said you weren't going to pick a canon ending, is now back, and you're kind of like, we like to open things up. There might be conflicting reports and accounts, and it's like, okay, well, is it like we as fans only knew one Mr. House? Now we know there were two. Did the one that we killed at the end of New Vegas, was that the fake Robert House, and this is the real one? Was that his backup plan? Like, is he an evolution of Howard Hughes where there's a third house, really? Now, we get into this a little bit more here, because this interview is also interesting. Fallout Season 2 will, again, avoid outright confirming which New Vegas ending is canon, because we didn't want to contradict anyone's experience playing the games. So the discussions, Bethesda's Todd Howard, executive producer Jonathan Nolan, and co-showrunner Graham Wagner, and the whole creative team had, was that we wanted to avoid making any one particular ending correct in from any of the games. So when I read something like that, and then you're bringing House back, it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. And this is the problem they had, is like, I wish they did pick a canon ending. That's my hot take on this whole series, is that I think if you're going to go to New Vegas, there's just all these different factions, and they could have done all these interesting things with it, building off of a particularly canon ending. Maybe I got to see the story to its finale, but it just seems like if you're going to go to New Vegas, you can't really elude that. And I think it shows in season 2, but maybe in season 3, they tie some loose ends up and it all starts to make sense here. Now, despite all of this, again, we're sticking with Games Radar here. We have an article titled, "Despite seemingly confirming one of New Vegas' ending is canon, Fallout showrunner says no, actually, that Mr. House twist still allows many players' experiences to have happened here." So, again, this is the quote. "It did seem to us like a version of him powered by cold fusion would be sort of the ultimate possible incarnation of Robert House," Robertson Dwyer tells EW, explaining the evolution of House, a character that is taken directly from the game. "And as someone who is interested in robotics and artificial non-biological versions of selves, it made a lot of sense to us that this would have been something that he would have developed and sort of be the ultimate version of him," she continues. "I've always seen it as something that allows for many players' experiences to continue to have happened, but still Robert House had this other version of himself that he was always ready to create, and what he needed was the diode." So what they're basically saying here is what we saw at the end of season 2 was like his failsafe. Right? Which, again, man, like, I don't know, dude. Like, okay. So all of the freaking out about the platinum chip, right? Like, we need the platinum chip. I need to see that done here. If this man just had the ace up his sleeve, I have to ask myself why, as a player, any of that matter. I just platinumed the game, and I'm thinking to myself, like, all these moments, all these conversations, the urgency, the plan, the defense of the strip, right? Like, these are all pressing matters. But, like, Robert's fragility as a character is one of those reasons. Like, he's protecting himself, too. But if he knows he's got this backup and he needs cold fusion, is it just like the idea of, like, well, cold fusion wasn't there until the ghoul showed up? It's really hard for me to buy into, because, again, I still have a choice that you're telling me can still happen where I killed one of the Robert Houses. So, again, they address this in the show. They say he was bludgeoned, he was poisoned. They're referencing what the courier did. Like, that also kind of says right there, like, if you touch Robert House in that state, that man is dead. So that confirms at least that choice during that point in the storyline. Like, it's not the ending per se, but that means, like, NCR or, like, Legion, like, you killed him in one of the non-house routes, right? So I think despite what Todd and co are saying about changing the lore in New Vegas or building upon it, I think it's going to be a really interesting needle they've got to just like thread perfectly. And maybe they do, but I just, again, think about how it conflicts with, now it does really conflict with the New Vegas experience. Like, because I look at it this way, nothing was in the back of my head when I was playing New Vegas. Now there's a little something in the back of my head. And I think that's where we kind of leave it for now. Now, there were also some other interesting quotes here because for those who don't know, and I guess if you're watching this, again, spoilers, season 3 for the Fallout TV show is going to take us to Colorado, which I thought was pretty exciting here. Now, Den of Geek has a pretty big deep dive here on what's happening and kind of teasing new factions, new locations. I thought this was really exciting here, kind of looking ahead, because if you ask me what the biggest mistake this show made with season 2, it kind of was going to the Strip, because I have so much more optimism for when this show is making its own things, because this show is the show that made the Ghoul. One of the in one season, they gave the Fallout franchise a face that is as prominent as the Vault Boy. They made Stephanie Harper. What an amazing character so far. So they have all of these great characters that they've made. So I think they can be trusted on their own to just create. So when they're going to Colorado, I'm like, oh, great. They can just do their own thing here. There's no like, did someone 15 years ago do something here? It's just their own little playground. Kind of, right? Because there's a little semi-canon game that's hanging around here. So they write here, while the state of Colorado exists in the Fallout games pre-war canon, where it's grounded alongside 3 other states as one of the 13 Commonwealth regions that makes up the U.S., which explains all of the American flags having 13 stars rather than the traditional 50, little is known about the post-apocalyptic wasteland era. According to Bethesda Game Studios director and TV show producer Todd Howard, that relative blank state is what made the location a lot more appealing. He says, we've always wanted to do that, where each season we want to go to new places. Just like the games, geography is such a fun part of the Fallout world, Howard tells Den of Geek. Obviously, there's going to be a journey to Colorado, but that journey might take us to some other places as well. So they do start to kind of have a little fun with something that's said in season 1 here. It's actually mentioned right here. They say, in acknowledging the potential for season 3's Colorado trip to some detours, Howard is invoking the Wasteland's golden rule. Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time. The roughly 750 miles that separate Las Vegas, Nevada from Denver, Colorado provide enough opportunity for the Ghoul to be distracted here. You say, you just don't know, and I genuinely mean that, Walton Goggins tells Den of Geek about Fallout 3's season 3 location. A lot of things can happen right after the camera cuts, but we'll see. If he goes to Colorado, I'll be jumping for joy. If he doesn't go to Colorado, I'll be jumping for joy. I can promise you this, the story that will be thought through, and that what happens will happen the way it was supposed to happen for us. So Walton's got all the confidence in the world here. What's interesting, though, is what Howard teases right here. Quote, I think it's really good to go to new places, even where the games haven't been. Develop that and explore. Who are the people there? What are some new factions? What are they doing to survive? It's the same approach we have with the games. It's this right here that I look at and go, yes. And what's interesting is this little note. Colorado was originally intended to be a major setting of Black Isle Studios' never completed version of Fallout 3. Under Bethesda's stewardship, they know Fallout 3 ended up going to, of course, Capital Wasteland. They say, according to dialogue in New Vegas, however, Denver became home to large packs of wild dogs sometimes after the bombs had dropped. That means the Ghoul's Belgian Malinois buddy meets some new puppers in season 3, then the setting will be just fine with us. I like that. Really well written. So that's a great interview there. So we have new factions that could show up. That's the stuff that excites me, like the new ways of life in a Fallout land. And I love that this also confirms that every season is going to take us somewhere new. We kind of felt that would be the case when season 1 ended with the New Vegas teaser. And now season 2 ends with the Colorado teaser. So now, if based on what Aaron Moten said, with like this being 5 or 6 seasons, there's still a bunch of locations that they can take us every season. So that keeps the kind of ideas open and flowing. And that makes me wonder where this is all going to conclude, right? Where is it all going to finalize? What's it all going to come down to? But I thought these were, in contrast to some quotes I'm a little bit unsure about, these were genuinely exciting. Like, I love that they're going somewhere and they're going to kind of make it their own, and especially because one of the best things season 2 did, in my opinion, was episode 1, where you took the cut content from Fallout New Vegas, which was Vault 24, and you made it to your own vault, and it fit perfectly in the story. And it was just right. It was just right. They did such a great job with the mind control vault and communism being the theme of it. It was perfect. So more of that would be great. And again, when they've made great original characters and now they're going to their own kind of setting that they can mold the way they wanted to, I love that. I think they're going to do a really great job with that. And otherwise, that's really what's happening with season 3 so far. And they also talk a little bit about Liberty Prime, which I thought was obviously one of the biggest reveals here. There was an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and they talk about how it was always a matter of how and when here. And so let me Control F, because I read this through, and there we go. It was at the bottom here. Giant Robots said a giddy Todd Howard, the Bethesda Game Studios veteran who led the Fallout games over the years, reacting to the Liberty Prime reveal. Quote, "It was a matter of how and when, not if. We're so excited the show is going to tackle that one." So, yeah, I love where their head's at on that as well. I think bringing back Liberty Prime is like, of course, you've got to show the masses Liberty Prime and like why everyone thought that was awesome too. I mean, that's what Fallout 3 brought to the table. It was amazing. Fallout 4 had it. So yeah, having the TV show have it, it is kind of running back a familiar element, but I'm glad they're doing it. It makes a lot of sense there. So that's going to be really exciting as well. Overall, I think if Fallout Season 3 can converge a lot of these plot points, I think it could be like peak, because that's the main problem Season 2 had. It just needed more time to breathe. More episodes would have gone a long way. But if Amazon's going to do its thing, it's going to keep the same episode count, then converging these storylines will be great. And obviously exploring a new setting where we're not constantly checking our notebook and going, what did Mr. House say? Like we're not doing any of that there. Well, actually, I lied. There's still the strip. We're still going to be doing that in Season 3, but maybe a little bit less so. Maybe there's something new to balance it out with. I think that's a little bit exciting. So despite Todd's comments on the lore to me being a little bit conflicting, like I'm a little like, oh, are you guys sure? Like when you say something like this, where you're like, what were we before and how do you respect it? And you're like, there will be conflicting reports. I mean, yeah, there will be, but like with like one of the most famous guys in the pre-war and the Wasteland, especially Vegas, conflicting reports. I mean, I guess maybe lying to the viewer is not like a bad thing. But in this case, I'm sure they have a vision, but I'm really eager to see it through. It's going to keep me up at night. What the hell they're doing with Mr. House. That's the main element I'm not going to forget about. I'm like, what are you guys doing with him? You know, you're kicking a hornet's nest here. Why would you do this? Why? So we'll see. All right. Let's see what chat's thinking here. Look up God's Revelation to the Human Heart by Father Seraphim Rose. Thank you, Chaz. Sounds a little terrifying, but I'll do that. Rook, if House's body died in Season 2 continuity, isn't necessarily because the courier could be an event after the game, if not related to your story. I guess, but then, like, where'd the courier go? Like, if I'm reading this right, like, if his body dies, like, isn't that during the events of New Vegas and the Hoover Dam, which like clearly happened? What if this is all taking place in the Tranquility Lane vault and this is all a simulation? I can see them doing that. Oh my God. Oh God. Imagine. Courier left for the divide. Could be. The ending they picked is the courier did nothing. He said, fuck this, I'm out. I think what would encourage me, if I'm going to Season 3, I'm seeing like the press reports and the beats for that season. If they were like, we increased the season to 10 episodes, we want to give you more. And then they said, we're going to drop it all at once. Oh man. I mean, at that point, I think I would be a little more okay with weekly, because I know there's that extra few hours to like really let it breathe. But like in Season 2, when you have like that plot point with like the fucking cousin lover vault story where it's like, oh, we have our own club and you're taking the water. I get they're trying to make like what's happening to Betty and like her pressure she's feeling kind of become this real thing. So she's having this conflict with Steph. I get it. But like, it's just not good. And like when Norm doesn't get enough screen time in Season 2, you can feel it because he's so important to the story. That they could have used him for that instead. So I just think there was some not great decisions in Season 2 as well. Again, not to make it to the point where like some people are like, it's terrible. I'm like, definitely not. But it could be a lot better. But that about does it for the news this stream, guys. Got it all covered. Again, just a quick reminder, link down below. Feel free to subscribe to this. We'll be talking about this in a video this weekend, so you can keep an eye out for that one. But get subscribed, because we'll have like highlights from this stream and others every stream put here. So I'm looking forward to growing this alongside you guys, and I appreciate you supporting what we got here. But yeah, let's hang out for a little bit as we round things up here. Work your way into a minor cast cameo for season 3. Can you imagine? Um, it's not something I would ever really want to do. I'm like, it's part of me holding on to a dream. Like when people were telling me like sign up for the reality show because you would totally get picked because they were like checking your follower account and like who you were and that sort of stuff. And like that definitely at least increases the odds a little bit given my Fallout background. But like I'm stubborn in that like if I ever work on the Fallout series, like I want to work on a game. Like I want to make a game. I don't want to make a show. I don't want to be part of a show, even if I'm a little cameo appearance. I'd love to visit the sets, but for me, it's like I want to make a game. I want to make an experience for people to play. That's what would excite me most. Parker, thank you for your donation. We appreciate you, Parker. Thank you. You have to keep that quiet for too long. That'd be hard. That too, yeah. I didn't even think about the content angle of things. Like you guys would expect me to be there talking like, what do you think of season 3, Maddie? It's like, I can't say anything because I was there. So there's also that element. Corrado, you've never played Fallout. Where should you start? Start with Fallout 3. Start with Fallout 3. Go to New Vegas. Go to 4. And like have a blast, dude. Just let it take you on a ride. It's really, really good. My favorite series in gaming. Do you think Sony will have a new God of War ready for the TV show? No, because I feel like we've heard a rumored God of War game for a while now, and that like I think it'll come out before the show. Like the show is just casting people now, right? So I think we still got a little while here. Rook says, I'm submitting myself to the reality show. Strength 10 in Vault Life can't be hard in Submarine Life. Yeah, you'd be great in it, bro. You're a survivalist. You'd be great. Let's see here. My new headcanon is the Courier. I'm sorry, you're like, this is like coming in red for me. What the hell? What's hold on, let me check something real quick. I just want to make sure I don't react poorly here. Okay, why is your super chat coming in red then? Anyway, okay. Where's my other window here? My new headcanon. The Courier was the chicken lover. Lots of wild wasteland and chems. He sided with Mr. House using the NCR, killed Caesar, or Kaiser, then betrays Mr. House, kills his corporeal being with a crowbar. We all know it was a golf club. Then he leaves New Vegas. NCR is nuked. The strip is overrun. Whoa now. So, okay, I'm having a stupid moment here. It's because of the amount. Yeah, usually, okay, before I answer your super chat, the reason it's red is usually red is I think like $100 or more for a super chat. Because your donation's coming in saying like Argentine pesos, I'm like, let me do a conversion real quick. And I'm just quickly Googling it, like 3,000 ARS to USD, and it's saying $2. So I'm like, is it YouTube lying to me, or am I like stupid? Like, it's okay if I'm stupid. I just want to make sure I like properly thank someone if they just made like a big donation is all. Because I'm waiting for it to update on my end too. So I'm being an idiot. I think I'm being an idiot ultimately. Red is usually $50 or more. I thought I thought pink was the 50 and more. The kind of maroon pink. Either way, I'm very grateful for your I'm very grateful for your super chat either way. So I just want to make sure because the color threw me off. But I appreciate it anyway. And I love your headcanon. The Bethesda team dev knows about you. Slide into their DMs and get them to fix some of the issues. I let them know. I know they watch the videos, but I definitely let them know. And like I communicate with them within reason because I'm very like some companies, Bethesda isn't one of these, but like some companies really want to get close to you. Like, hey, Matt, how's it going? Like, I'll be like when I've had companies where I'm mid-review and they're like, what are you thinking so far? And like, I love the investment, but for me as a creator, it gets a little uncomfortable because I don't want to be your friend. With all due respect, for me to do my job, I cannot be your friend. Like, this needs to stay as a business relationship. And so I try not to like be in their ear too much, because then it becomes too back and forth. And then they're in my ear enough where I could see it influencing my content. And I think my content thrives because it's my honest opinion. So I don't want to like, fuck anything up on either side. So I try to give them feedback and just leave it there. Like, I'll link them my videos and be like, hey, just some suggestions or something like that. Something nice and simple. But I don't know. I mean, I'd hope, at least with people like me being very displeased with them, it sends a kind of clear message of like, whoa, even him? Like, I feel like that's hopefully the takeaway here. If he starts making demands, they'll block him. Can you imagine? Yeah, like I've seen I won't name names, of course. I don't play the drama game, but like I've seen just like creators or creator groups like get really close to devs, and I think there's a relationship that's there that should exist. Like, I like to interview devs. I have great respect for these, like a Ken Levine or a Fargo. I consider them acquaintances for sure. Like, I'll chat with them, no doubt about it. It's a little bit different in those situations, like with dev on dev. But like when it's like community teams that their job is to get coverage, or their job is to get positive coverage or whatever, like they are the liaison between me and the dev team. That relationship, I am like very much all business about. I'll happily befriend like devs though. You need to tell that to regular journalists. Yeah. Yeah. I think like what Schreier does is great. Like, he does deep dives and whatnot, but yeah, I think it's just like we're missing a lot of true journalism in gaming. Like, if you subscribe to like almost any newspaper nowadays and just like read that and how they do their work versus games industry, it's like eye opening. It's not even close. So I meant to say this earlier. Exercise for fat tongue. Say the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue as fast as possible on repeat, as clearly as you can. Interesting. I've never heard of that. I wonder what does that do? I've never heard of that before. That's really fascinating though. The lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue as fast as possible on repeat. So just like loosen up the jaws some sort of way. Would they lose access if they started doing real journalism? I don't think so. I think if everyone started playing the same ball game, it's just like these companies still need the reviews. They still need people's thoughts and opinions. And like, certainly you've seen me like blow up on Xbox or blow up on Bethesda. They've still happily provided access. I feel like if you think about that too much and you keep it in your ear for too long, that becomes a problem, right? But I feel like there are some companies out there like PlayStation doesn't work with me. That's more so because I started covering Xbox, so they're weird like that. Nintendo's always been impossible to get in touch with, unless they're scared about something, then they reach out. Square Enix used to work with me a lot. They've like completely cut me off. They're like legit. I'm sorry if I sound bothered by it, because they're legit fucking impossible to get into a conversation with. So because they have like a whole agency between me and them, and every time I just get like, yeah, we're forwarding you to the team, and I'm like, sure you are, because I never hear back. Even when I've gotten in contact with people in Square Enix who then forward me to their teams. So I don't know. Like, there's some teams that just cut you off because they probably saw my titles and thumbnails and they're like, fuck this guy. Like, it could just be that simple. It could be something they heard me say in a video. They could assume, I'm not like nice to devs. It could be a number of things. I know Bethesda didn't work with me for a while because there were people in the building who didn't like me. But when some new people came in who did like me, suddenly they were willing to set me up. So that's why I think like playing politics and gaming is just not worth it, because it's just always who the fuck likes you. It's stupid as hell. So I think if you're a bunch of journalists, like, you have the opportunity to be a force of change, where it's like, more leaks, more reports, more industry studio deep dives would go a long way, because I think a lot of these people play games, and it's high school, man. That's what I would say. Behind the scenes, like, I stay so uninvolved and just mind my own business, because it's legit high school shit out here. So, like, I just mind my own business. You know, if I reach out to someone for a review code and they're like, yeah, sure, it's like, awesome, cool. But it's not like I'm gonna be like, yes, now I gotta make him my best friend, bring him on everything, really wine and dine them. It's like, no, dude, like, this is my job. Like, there's an expectation of some level of like professionalism here. So, yeah. How can they not like you? Dude, a ton of people don't like me. I appreciate it, but a ton of people don't like me. But thank you. It's very nice of you to say. Articulation, it uses all the spots in your tongue that you can use when speaking, if I remember correctly. Interesting. Okay. I appreciate it, DeMarco. I'll use that as a warm-up. I never warm up. I just talk. But that would be nice to have. You're not moldable enough for them. I don't even know if it's that. They like, there's you could talk moldability. You could also just talk like, even if I am moldable in how I speak, you know, if they don't like my thumbnails and they think it's like, that's a little bit antagonizing, or he was mean. I'll put it this way. It takes just one video. And I know most of these companies don't know like how expansive I am online. Like, most companies just come to me as like Mr. Matty. So all they know is that channel. They don't know about Defining Duke. And certainly I can tell by the way people talk to me, they don't know about Retro Rebound, which bothers me the most. Because what I'll like, if I'll say, like, there's one thing I saw one time for me online, like, someone was like, he's just so fucking negative. I'm like, dude, I have a whole channel dedicated to just glazing shit constantly, which is Retro Rebound. And it's like, not even like, oh, it's this little thing. It's as successful as Mr. Matty now. Like, it's insane how well the channel does. I'm so happy with it. So I don't know, like, it's just public perception. And to me, if you get into this, I'm sorry, I'm talking about all this because I imagine a lot of you who watch are like curious about behind the scenes shit, but like also like you might want to get into this. If you care about what everyone in this industry thinks of you, because it's a small, I put in quotes, industry, like everyone knows each other, you'll fucking drive yourself crazy, dude. It's just not worth like caring. Like, care enough to like, you know, present yourself well. And in my case, I like to be professional and I like to hold nuance in my conversations. I don't like to farm outrage and that bullshit, but like, to the level of like, did I say just the right things that like this company likes me? Like, it's such a crapshoot. It really is, you know, like, I've had companies that do like me, but like do not provide any support. And that's just how it's been my whole channel lifespan. So hopefully this helps for those of you who are interested in content creation. Are you able to say if you've been given a Crimson Desert review code? No, I don't have one. I haven't reached out for one yet, though. But I heard someone else earlier in the chat say that like they're out, so I'll look into that. I think ultimately it's about like putting your head on the pillow. Like, when you're done for the day, did you do right by your audience? And I think that'll just always like, you know, I'm trying to think of like an example. Like, when I went through like getting canceled, right? Worst day of my fucking life. But I feel like if I didn't have a community that I spent so much time caring for, and like they knew who I was and it wasn't what people were saying about me online, that was a whole different outcome that day. If I spent most of my time just fucking like glazing companies and not just being true to myself, which is just like, hey, even if you don't like it or what I have to say, like just remaining authentic, I think that day turns out differently for me. And I think there's a lot of fork in the road moments as a creator. And like, that was one of them for me, where it's like, I felt very thankful. I just always stayed true to myself. So that's the motto. If you're going to be a creator, stay true to yourself. Josh says, I've dealt with PR a bit. Very mixed experience. They often are fairly nice, but sometimes, because I'm not a big audience or anything, they can be pretty dismissive. That's the other thing. You'll get like the copy paste responses, and like that on its own, like I mean, again, I want to make sure it's clear. It's like, there's no level of entitlement. It just is what it is, right? Like, so that's why I'm saying you can't just like fight this beast unless like other people change. But like PR can be great. Like I don't really have anything bad to say about games industry PR, generally speaking. They're usually pretty nice, but I think it's the ones who like, when you follow up multiple times and they ignore you, it's like, this is your job. And I know you're deliberately trashing my emails. It happens though, man. Like there's some companies that are really attentive, and despite their popularity, they're very, very attentive. So yeah. Sorry, we don't have any codes left after, weeks after launch. Yeah. Like they have the defaults, that sort of stuff. Anyway, guys, it's about to be 6:30 on my end here. So I'm going to go get something to eat. And I'm going to go see a movie tonight. So I'm going to peace out. You'll have a video this weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about Maddie Slop. It'll be more like a real Maddie talk, just kind of about where my head's at with some things moving forward. So you can look forward to that. I'm going to see if Dan's available because I do want to get another video out on top of that this week, because right now we're at 3. And I wanted to give the Fallout review a little bit of time to breathe. But I appreciate you guys being here, supporting the streams. Thank you again for making Maddie Slot possible. Again, link in the description down below. You want to get subscribed, and you'll get all the highlights from these 3. This is another almost 3-hour stream. You can hop on over there. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a great weekend, of course. And other than that, though, I will catch all of you mighty soon. But until then, have a good weekend.